by His word, by His Dabar, we live, we breathe, we have our being. This Yom, we acknowledge Yahuwah, who consists in the highest Shamayim, who governs all Shabat Shamayims, all seven heavens, through the Kia, through the firmament, down to the surface of the earth and down to the center of the earth, into the other worlds and other realms. We acknowledge this Yom, Yahuwah Elohim, our Creator, our Ab, our strength of our house, of our bodies, the one who allows one to see and to understand, the one who wounds, who kills, who heals and who makes alive, the one who creates shalom and peace, the one who creates the Ra in the city. For Yahuwah does all these things, and we acknowledge Him as the one who formed and shaped the cosmos, the universe, the galaxies, the star clusters, the one who formed the binary stars, and the one who formed Sirius A and Sirius B, the one who formed Orion, the Quetzal, and the Kima, the one who formed Arcturus, the one who formed and shaped the constellations and allows us to come into the knowledge of the truth, the one who gives breath to the Ish, the one who gives breath to an Isha, the one who allows a man and a woman to be as one, the one who allows one to acknowledge his son Yahusha. This Yom, as we always say, close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, all emotions, all desires and fears. Allow your mind to become to balance. Free your mind from the cares of this life, the deceitfulness of riches, and all the things that can cause one to lose balance within oneself. For today is the day of freedom. Today is the day of warning. Today is the day that Yahuwah has made. And we will rejoice. In our confessions, we will give praise to Yahuwah. In our singing, we will give praise to Yahuwah. For knowing that He rules in the kingdom, in the Malkut of Ish, in the Malkut of man, of the children of Adam. And He gives it to whomever He will. We acknowledge Him, the one who made the mountains, the Zhangji mountains in China, the floating mountains, the one who made the Nzori mountains, the one who formed Mount Kilimanjaro and the K2 mountains in Pakistan, the one who formed the Appalachian mountains, the one who formed the mountain ranges in Greenland, the one who gives and takes away, the one who formed the whirlpools at the bottom of South Africa, Yahuwah Elohim, who allows a man and knows every thought. He knows every single aspect of your body, from protons, electrons, neurons, quarks, molecules, photons, atoms, all the chromosomes, 46 chromosomes that flow through the body, the corpus callosum, your pituitary pineal. He knows it all. He controls it all. Your frontal lobe, your frontlets between your eyes. We say, Halal Yahuwah this Yom, for love and compassion and humility that you've given us through your Ben Yahusha. So as we move forward in kindness, we move forward in compassion, we move forward in mercy, not only just for ourselves, but for others. We move forward in love, most of all, that keeps everything in perfect unity, in perfect harmony. Even as the wind blows against the trees, and they wave and give praise to the one who made all things, Yahuwah. So this is 2nd Esdras, Bith Azra, 1654. Behold, Yahuwah knoweth all the works of men, Adam, human beings. So He knows everything and every single work and every single act and action that one does. Their imaginations, their thoughts, and their hearts, their lab, their lob. So you look at the heart and the mind. Look at the mind and all of the functions of the thought process, your makashaba. You think about the heart that pumps oxygenated and deoxygenated blood throughout the body, all throughout your blood vessels, throughout your capillaries, through all these things. Like He knows everything and all the things that flow through your body. Guess what? Verse 55 says, which spake the Debar, the word, and let the earth be made, and it was made. He spoke the sound vibrational frequency into the atmosphere, just like you speak things in your life, in your atmosphere, and you create. He did the same thing. He said, let the Shamayim, guess what he said? Let the Shamayim be made, and it was created. So he spoke, and it was created. He spoke, and it was created. And it says, verse 56, and it says, in the Debar were the stars made, and he knoweth the number of them. So you look at the stars in the Kukabim, in the highest Shama, in the Shamayim. You can look up in the sky tonight, when the sun goes down. You'll be able to look up and you can see the stars and how the constellation and the stars are moving toward the spring alignment. You can see it, right? You can see it. Verse 57 says, he searches the deep and the treasures thereof. He hath measured the sea and what it containeth. He has. Verse 58 says, he hath shut the sea in the midst of the waters, and with the word hath he hanged the earth upon the waters. Right? He hanged the actual earth, the kug on the surface of the deep. He hath shut the sea in the midst of the waters, and with his word he hanged the earth upon the waters. He spreadeth out the Shamayim like a vault. Upon the waters hath he founded it. So you look at the Shamayim, you look at the earth, right? You look at your mind, you look at the universe, the cosmos, all of the bar that created all things within you. Right? It's inside of you. Verse 60 says, in the desert hath he made springs of water and pools upon the tops of mountains, that the floods might pour down from the high rock to water the earth. Right? Verse 61, he made man and put his heart in the midst of the body and gave him breath, life and understanding. Yea, the Ruach of the Almighty Elohim, which made all things and searcheth out all hidden things in the secrets of the earth. He did all of that. He could see all the way down in the secrets of the earth, even in the secret parts of ourselves, even in the secret parts of our body, in the secret parts of our heart and our mind, that He's secret parts of our liver, right? In the secret parts of our kidneys. He can see all these things. In verse 63 says, surely He knoweth your inventions and what ye think in your mind, even them that sin, and would hide their sin. So he can see all of these things. Verse 64 says, therefore hath Yahuwah exactly searched out all your works. So He searched out everything that one has done throughout their life. Whether you live 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, 38 years, 41 years, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 100 years. He searched out everything. And He says, therefore hath Yahuwah exactly searched out all your works, and He will put you all to shame. So that's every single person that's under the sound of His voice. He said, I'm going to put you all to shame. Right. So this is 2 Enoch, Canute 11:1 says, and those men took me, and they carried me up to the fourth Shamayim, and they showed me all the movements and sequences and all the rays of the solar and lunar light. So when you start looking at the solar and lunar light, you start looking at the different time sequences of the calendar, of how to tell time, according to a 364-day cycle or a 354-day cycle, according to a lunar cycle. Right. He says, and I measured their movements, and I compared their light, and I saw that the sun has a light, an or 7 times greater than the moon. So you look at the sun, has a light 7 times greater than the moon. So when you can go even back to Bereshit 37, when actual Yusuf had a dream. He said, the sun, I saw the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars giving obedience to me. Right? And his father understood that he was talking about him as the sun, because he had 7 times brighter than the Yark, which is his mother. And then you had the Kukabim. Right? But he said the sun has 7 times brighter than the moon, right? In the first 60 23 and 19 says, such a man only fears the eyes of men, Adam, human beings. They fear Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Right? You fear news articles and things. You fear their eyes. You fear all the things that they're going to say. Right? He said, you only fear the eyes of men. He said, and knoweth that the eyes of Yahuwah are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So you can put out fake articles, fake news stories, false accusations, false things out. But then guess what? Yahuwah knows it's a lie. He already knows it's a lie. He knows whether it's truth or whether it's a lie. And guess what? Beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts. So He can see all these things. He can behold it. And And he says, verse, such a man only fears the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of Yahuwah are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So you look at that, the sun that comes up out of the sixth portal. Yeah, there are portals. And the sun comes out of the sixth portal and he can see you. You can see that sun. You can say you see it go from the sixth hour, comes up, sixth portal, then he goes at third hour into the sixth hour. Can you look at the sun when it's at the sixth hour? He said, if you can't do that, then surely understand that Yahuwah is 10,000 times brighter than that. And he can see all the way down to the smallest molecule, proton, down into the quantum world of yourself. And he can see that. It says, beholding all the ways of men, considering the most secret parts. So he can see your secrets. He said, what? He can see our secret lives, our secret thoughts, our secret past, right? He can see all these things. Right? Sirach 26 and 8, 6 to 8. Some men holdeth his tongue, because he have not to answer, right? So you have a lot of people, you have nothing to answer, right? Somebody asks a question. And some keep his silence, knowing it's time. It's a time for everything, right? He is a wise man holdeth his tongue till he see opportunity, right? So when people understanding how to be wise individual, knowing when to speak and when not to speak, right? It says, speak now or forever hold your peace. Well, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court, right? They say these things, right? All these things are aspects that one has to live their life by while they live under the actual eyes of Yahuwah, right? Because at the end of one's life, anything you said will be used against you in the court of law, right? Whether one imagined it in their thoughts or whether one has spoken it. These are all aspects that one has to purify themselves from. It says, a wise man holds his tongue to see opportunity, but a babbler and a fool will regard no time. Right? It don't matter what time it is. That babbler and the fool, he gonna talk. It says in the morning, in the evening, in the noonday, when the sun rises. He said he's gonna keep going. Why? Because you regard no time. Because sometimes you have to learn to keep silence. Right? Even through life, you have to learn to keep silence. Why? Because even I had to learn that. You have to learn when to be quiet and when to say, when to speak. You have to learn to understand that everything and every conversation does not need to take place in your life because it might not be the right time for the conversations, right? And these are aspects and these are things that one learns as one travels through this world. I say travel because we're on a journey. Every single day you go by, you're traveling. That's another day you're traveling through life as you travel to your next destination, which is the next day. Or you're traveling down the store, going to a place, or you're traveling out of the country, or you're going to a mountaintop, or you're walking through a trail. You're traveling. You're always traveling. He gave you two legs. We were designed to move and use the human experience with our legs to experience life. He said, I heard a wise man say, if you haven't lived life unless your body just like worn down, you'd be like, man, what a ride. Right? You start looking at your life, right? So this is Tahur 51 and 10. It says, create in me a clean heart, Yahuwah, and renew a right ruach within me. Right? So we look at want to be created all over again. Right? Creating me a clean heart, mind, and renew Yahuwah, and renew a right ruach within me. Right? So we're thinking about all these different spirits out here that we spoke about before. There are so many different behaviors and spirits out here. He said, give me the right one. Creating me a clean one, a clean mind, a clean heart. Right? Because we look at our minds and our thoughts as a vessel that needs to be clean, just like you clean a house. Our mind has compartmentalized our life. Some parts of our mind are clogged. Some parts of our mind have images, whether it's of sex, pornea, lust. All these things are locked in our thoughts, whether it's lying, cheating. I stole from I have a behavior locked in my mind. I have a vault of slander. I have a vault of malice. I have a vault of hatred. All these things get locked in your thoughts. And it can block your mind and allow your mind to function properly when it comes to meditation, when it comes to thought processes about someone else, about expressing oneself out of their voice, right? Being able to express things. Like all these things come from the mind and the heart. Right? He said, created me a clean heart, renewing me the right ruach within me. Right? So the word for create is bara, just like you see in the creation of the world. Bereshit, or in the beginning, Yahuwah created the Shamayim and the earth. Right? It's the same way. Bara, right? Bereshit, bara. The house, he says that it starts off with a house, bith, the beginning, Rashid, created. Creating what? Me a clean heart. Right? Yahushua said, repent, do your first works over, the first day of creation, as we spoke about before. If you go back and listen to from the beginning, from Abad, you'll understand that when he says, go back to the first and create in me a clean heart, that means you want to go back to how it was in the beginning. You want to go back to how it was when I first understood the knowledge of Yahuwah. So, bara is what? Create, to shape, to fashion, to create, right? Understanding, transformations. It says of transformations, you transforming oneself, right? Of miracles, right? Have a created, he said, created me a clean heart. That's a miracle. A clean mind. He says, to make yourselves fat. And he said, why would you want to make yourself fat? To be fat, right? To be fat. You look at your mind, you're like, why would I want to be fat in my mind? You know, it's written, he said, delight thyself in fatness. He said, be not drunk with wine, but be filled with the Ruach. And it also says, of something new, brand new. I want a new mind. I want a new thoughts, right? You know, it also means creating means to cut down, just like you cut down trees to clear out some land. You're creating something. You got to cut down things. It's the same thing. You go to Brown Drivers Bridge, right? It also means to feed, right? It also means to feed, right? Cut down, right? Right? Also, you know, transformations. Be transformed by the renewing your mind. Why? That's how you're going to create in your mind. That's how you're going to create a clean mind. The renewing of your mind. Right? The word for clean is tahur. Tahur, right? It means to be what? Pure, clean, pure, morally, ethically. Morally, ethically clean. Right? You think about morals and ethically being ethical. Ethical means being upright. You start looking at being ethical. That means following the rules. Right? Pure, clean, fair, pureness. Right? Tahur. When you add up tahur, you got the T, the Ha, the Wa, and the Rash. Right? You got 9, 5, 6, and 200. We use a 220, we use a 4. The fourth letter of the alphabet is what? The door. Entranceway, gateway, passageway, portal. The Qahalath. The door. I mean, what did Yahushua say? He said, I'm the door. He said, no man can enter in except by the door. You have to be clean and pure in order to enter in to eternal life. I think that was like creating me a clean heart, renewing me the right ruach, because he just committed a bunch of acts. You're not gonna get into the acts, but he did a lot of things. Right? So the word for heart is lave, creating me a clean heart, or heart and mind. Inner man, right? Creating me a new inner man, a mind, a willing heart, creating me a new inner parts. Like we got kidneys. Who will be judging the kidneys and the liver? Give me a new liver in a you know how people do in the world. They get clones, they clone chickens, they clone human body parts. They say, give me a new liver and a new kidney. I want a new one, right? It says mind, knowledge. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Creating me a new mind. Renewing me the right ruach. Thinking, the way one thinks. The way one thinks. Your reflection. Like, what are you thinking about? What are you reflecting on? You reflecting on trauma, hatred, jealousy, envy, strife, complaining, criticism, pride, mumbling, grumbling, complaining. Is one reflecting on that? What somebody did to them? What somebody has done? Are you reflecting on these things? Because these things can distort. We talk about memory. Creating me some new memories. You got to create new memories. You can't, I want to keep my old memories. If you don't create new ones, you're going to always have the old ones. You got to destroy them, right? Inclinations, right? The way I resolve things than before, like creating in me a new way to resolve things, right? Creating me a new determination, whether it's to, like some people, new determination to study, new determination to read, new determination to meditate. Some people say new determination to exercise, to reach goals, right? These are all what? New. He wants all these things new. It's a seat of emotions and passions. Creating me a new way of how I deal with my seat of emotions and passions. That's what he wants, right? The heart, the center of anything, right? Creating me the new way that I understand, because in my willingness and my wisdom, right? All these are aspects of I want to create. He said, David said, creating me a new heart, renewing me the right ruach, right? The word for renew is Chudash. Chudash, to be new, renew, repair. Like people talk about repairing something. You know, people have relationship problems, and I ain't talking about between a man and woman. It could be between a mother and father. It could be between a brother or a sister, right? Chudash, repair. You have to repair it, but the only way you're going to repair anything, that the mind has to be renewed. You have to get a new one in order to repair things. And it says renew, repair, to renew, rebuild. That's not you're going to be able to rebuild, or how you say rebuild anything. You got to get a new mind. Right? People have a corporation and the corporation gets dissolved, right? And then they want to come back and get a new one. You got to get a whole new name, a whole new everything. Why? Because that's the only way you can repair anything. You got to start all over again. Repairing has nothing to do with, I'm going to repair what I already got. He's going to talk about it. No, you got repairing is starting all over from the beginning. Starting all over again. That's how you repair anything. You got to start it all over. That's the only way. There's no going in between. It's like, okay, I got to start all over again. I just messed up. You got to go all the way back to how I was in the beginning. It means renew, repair, rebuild, right? To be new, right? Chudash, right? So the word for renewing me the right, that word for right is kum. Kum, right? To be firm, stable. Give me a firm, stable, established, prepared, to be ready. Right? And it also means proper or prosperous. Like we talk about equitable word, fashion, right? You can go up to make firm. Give me a firm, what? The word for spirit is ruach. Ruach. Prepared, a firm ruach, strong. Something that's firm. But once you start all over again, it's like right ruach, boom. Remember, it was what happened. He said, created me a clean heart. That's bara, right? You had created me a clean tahur, right? You had lave, right? It said Chudash, what? Right ruach. What right ruach? Right? When he created the world in the beginning, he said, in the beginning, Yahuwah created the heavens, shamaim, and earth, the earth without form and void, and darkness upon the face of the deep. And the ruach, that is the new ruach, moved upon the face of the waters. Give me a new ruach within me. Because remember, it's the beginning of the house, the creation of the house, your body. Give me a new ruach within me. It says wind. That's what it did. It moves like a rushing mighty wind, or wind. like the breath that comes out of someone's mouth. You have breath, mind, spirit. Give me a new ruach. Spirit, animation, right? All these are aspects of what? Life. Life. The right ruach that my temper and anger is not as it was before. My temper and anger is all based upon the new ruach that I got. Right. It also means an uncontrollable impulse. Right. That's what the wrong ruach is. You got to have control over your ruach. He said, man can't rule over his ruach. He said, man, he's like, you got a city without walls. A man or woman. If you are without walls, that means, guess what happened? All types of spirits can come in, and you don't even know it. It says the spirit of the seats of the organs, or organs, right? And this is the one I want. Emotions of mental acts. Mentally. What is one thinking about? Is one thinking about purity, one thinking about Hagah, thinking on meditation on Yahuwah. Is one thinking about the purity of mind. Is one thinking about the actions that one does on a daily basis. Is one thinking about the practices that one does on a daily basis. Is one thinking about going above and beyond and showing honor on a daily basis. Like, all these are aspects of one's life, right? And it also means what? Right ruach is instructions or warning. Instructions or warnings. Right? Renew the right ruach, and then that word for within me is karev. The right ruach within, in the midst, in the inner parts. A seat of thought is emotions, faculty, thoughts of emotions, thoughts within oneself. Your thoughts control your life. Your thoughts control how you think about people. Your thoughts create the pictures that you have about people you never even met. Your thoughts create things that are, the thoughts that it creates the very things that make you who you are. It makes who you are. Your thoughts can make you shrink. Your thoughts can make you grow. Your thoughts can make you see. Your thoughts can give you perfect health. If you synchronize it in the right way, it'll make you take up your bed and walk. You synchronize it the right way with Yahushua Mashiach, it'll make you get up out and make you take up your bed and walk. It'll make you get up and leap when you paralyze and leap for joy. It'll open your eyes. Your thoughts. Your thoughts. Your thoughts can get rid of your anxiety. Your thoughts can get rid of your impulses. Your thoughts can get rid of all of the things that men have pronounced on your life from the doctor. Your thoughts can do that if it's synchronized with the right source, the right ruach, right? So this is ODE Shaloma, ODE 8 in 1. So after all of that, we start thinking about, he said, create in me a clean heart, renew me the right ruach. He says, open your hearts to the exaltation of Yahuwah, and let your love abound from your heart and mind to your lips. Right? Think about the things that one speaks, things that one says. Right? You go from your mind to your lips, right? And it says what? In order to bring forth fruits to Yahuwah, a Kadush life. Because this is all about life. And because remember, all these behaviors shorten your lifespan. People say, I want long life and length of days. Then get rid of all these behaviors you have. Get to shalom and peace. Right? Get to the inner man being transformed by the renewing of your mind and being able to, humble oneself under the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that Yahuwah gives, right? And he says, in order to bring forth fruits of God's life and to speak with watchfulness in his light. It says, stand and be established. Like, you wonder why those people stood up from morning to midday. They didn't sit down during Nakumiyah. They were standing up, hearing the word from morning to midday for 4 hours. Right? It says, stand and be established. You who were once brought low. You who were once been fasting for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years. You who one had been down and out. He said, man, get up. You can't stay down there. You've been a fallen Malaki your whole life. You're a fallen angel, like they say. It's about time you stop being a fallen angel. Stop being a fallen Malaki. Stop acting like the children of the Nephilim. Stop conducting yourself like a fallen angel, like a Nephilim. And start conducting yourself like a son and daughter of Yahuwah, a God and Elohim and a goddess who received the light. He gave you power. He transformed you, right? Verse 4 says, you who were once in silence, speak, for your mouth has been opened. You who were despised, from henceforth be raised, for your righteousness have been raised. It's the same thing with Yahushua Mashiach. He was despised and rejected amongst men. And guess what? He rose the third day. He was raised. He was exalted and very high. He said what? Yeshayahu 57. And also, he said in the Yuchanan chapter 12, John chapter 12, he said, if the Son of Man will be lifted up, I'll draw him into me. His righteousness was raised. His teachings. If Yahushua be not raised, we are all men most miserable. That means if we most miserable, that means we despise on what he said. Yahushua Mashiach. Because he gave us every single aspect on how to deal not only with overcoming this life, which is the bar under the Torah, and also how to deal and understand each other. Verse 6 says, the right hand of Yahuwah is with you, and he will be your helper. The right hand of Yahuwah. Right? That hand that's extended, that hand that moves kings and rulers out of the way, the one who sends locusts, the one who sends hornets, the one who shakes the earth. Right? Yahuwah is his name, right? For the right hand of Yahuwah is with you, and he will be your helper. So if Yahuwah is the helper, and he's walking with you, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Right? Verse 7 says, and Shalom was prepared for you before what may be your war. Peace. Peace and tranquility. Peace and tranquility. When you can meditate in the middle of the snow and sit down in the middle of the snow and still have peace and tranquility, he says, prepare for you what may be your war. People have the war that has already been waging. He said he already gave Shalom. He already had to prepare. So this is Mashali 8, Proverbs 8 through 11. All the words of my mouth are righteous, and there's nothing twisted or crooked in them. They are all straight to him who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. Take my instructions instead of silver, and knowledge rather than gold. Wisdom is better than jewels, and all that you may desire cannot compare with her. Right? So we understand that none of the words of Yahuwah's mouth are crooked or twisted. They are all straight. They are all straightforward. It says what? Distorted. Nothing distorted, false, crooked, or forward, or perverse. There's nothing. It's all pure words. The word for straight is nakuak. Right? Straightforward, equitable, correct, integrity, innocence. It's going to make you innocence into proving guilty. You obey the word, you adhere to it, and then guess what? You'll be innocent on the day that you're judged. Right? So we look at his word is he says nothing is Ikesh, and nothing is Nakua. They are all straight in Nakua. Right? So we understand that, right? This is wisdom of Solomon, Kukumasli Saluma 6:12 through 25. His wisdom is glorious and never fadeth away. Yea, she is easily seen of them that love, and found of such that seek. So once you seek, I was just talking about earlier, once you seek, you got to make a choice once you find it. I'm gonna search out the truth. I'm gonna read and study. I'm gonna seek it out. I'm gonna search for it. And then when you find it, then you gotta make a decision on what you're gonna do. Verse 13 says, she prevented them that desire her, and making herself first known unto them. Right? It ain't something that's easily attainable. Verse 14 says, whoso seeketh her early shall have no great travail, for he shall find her sitting at his doors. Right? So we spoke about getting up earlier, before the sun rises, before the cock crow. Right? In the fourth watch. Right? We start thinking about these things. We start understanding that Abraham was sitting at the tent door. Even the 10 virgins sitting at the door, waiting for the Mashiach to open, ready to serve. Right? Verse 15 says, to think up there upon her is perfection of wisdom. To think upon it. What are you thinking about? Remember we talked about creating me a clean heart, renewing me the right ruach. That's your thinking. Your thinking. What are you thinking about? And whoso watches for her is quickly without care, for she goeth about seeking such as are worthy of her. So showeth herself favorably unto them in the ways, and meeteth them in every thought. Creating me a clean heart, renewing me the right ruach within my thoughts. Right? Within my thoughts. Marshally 4:7 says, the wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Right? So we understand that. Right, wisdom is the Rashith Kukma, the beginning of wisdom. Right, Kina, Hukma, right, Ubakal, Kuninak, right, Kina Bina, right, and all that getting, Kina Bina, get understanding. Get understanding. Right. So this is wisdom of Solomon, Kukma Sli Shaloma 7:6-14. For all men and women have one entrance into life. A man and a woman, they come out from the matrix of a woman. Right? And the light going out. Naked you came into the world, and naked you going to leave. Just like a child being born. And it says, wherefore I prayed and understanding was given to me. And all that getting, get understanding. It was given to him. Why? I called upon all Yahuwah, and the ruach of wisdom came to me. Renewing me the right ruach. Creating me a clean heart. He prayed first to get that understanding, and the ruach of wisdom came to him. And guess what it said? I preferred her before scepters and thrones, before esteemed riches. Nothing is compared to her. So it ain't just can be scepters and thrones. Everybody's not seeking out the riches. It could be before a job. It could be before a car. It could be before money. It could be before a stock going up or an investment going up. It could be before a husband, it could be before a wife, it could be before any of these things, it could be before all these things. I prefer understanding and wisdom before all these things. Right? So how many things in our life that we attain, right, in life, and we say, I wasn't seeking out wisdom and knowledge before that. Right? What has one attained in their life that they were seeking out and they got, or they wasn't even seeking it out, but they ended up inheriting it? And then guess what happened? They weren't seeking out wisdom and knowledge before. Right? He said, I preferred it before scepters and thrones, and esteemed riches, and nothing to compare to her. Neither I compare unto her any precious stone. Any precious stone. Because all gold in respect to her is as little sin. And silver shall not be counted as clay before her. Why? Because when you got kukum, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you understand that a wise man hides himself when he sees danger. Like when you see things coming, a wise man know, okay, I need to do this, and this. Because if I don't do this, and this, then I'm going to be unprepared. Like we just talked about, right ruach within me, it meant prepared. Right? We talk about inward man, kinah. Right? We talked about the inward man, correct, right? The inward man. Right? It means prepared. Guess what it says? It says, all silver is counted as clay before her. I loved her above health and beauty, and chose her instead of light, the ore. For the ore that cometh from her, or it said from her, never goeth out. So you start looking at the beginning. I prefer her before the sun, that the sixth quarter comes up so I can go to work. He said, for the light that cometh from her, never goeth out. So you start looking at the ore that comes from the beginning of the creation of the world. That light that came on the first day of creation, not the fourth day of creation. Verse 11 says, all good things together came to me with her, and innumerable riches in her hands. You can't even count it. And I rejoiced in them all, because wisdom goeth before them, and I knew that she was the mother of them. I learned diligently and do communicate her liberally. I do not hide her riches, for she is a treasure unto men, and never faileth, which they that use become the friends of Elohim, being commended from the gifts that come from learning. People say, what is my gift? What have you learned? He said, what do you mean? I don't have a gift. He said, okay, have you applied what you learned? Because the application for applying what you learn creates your gift within. Because nobody creates a cake or a meal. Nobody creates a house. Nobody does anything without doing anything. Have you applied what you learned, and are you walking in that application to reach that goal, or whatever, where your application will produce your gift in what you learned? This is Nazarene acts of the Shalakim, advantage of knowledge. So we must, above all things, hasten to the knowledge of the truth. Above everything. Above everything. Right? Above everything. That as with a ore kindled thereat, we may be able to dispel the darkness of errors, just like in the beginning. Created me a bara balay, bara, tahur lay, right? Tahur lab, right? Created me a clean heart. The darkness of errors. For ignorance, as we have said, is a great evil. To be ignorant of the beginning, to be ignorant of how to create your mind all over again, that's evil. If you don't know how to create and ask for creation again within yourself to Yahuwah, then guess what happens? You won't even know it's evil. You won't. But because it has no substance, it is easily dispelled by those who are earnest. You know, if you're earnest in your mind, evil and darkness and ignorance can't dwell. If you're really seeking this out. For ignorance is nothing else than not knowing what is good. For us, once one know, ignorance perishes. Therefore, the knowledge of the truth ought to be eagerly sought after. And no one can confer it except the Nabi of Amat, of truth. For this is the gate of life to those who enter, and the road of good works going to the city of salvation. Good works, because Amunah with faith without works, Amunah without works is dead. He said, let me show you my Amunah. He said, I'm going to show you my works. Yahusha even said, even though you don't believe me, believe the works. So I know you don't believe me. He said, look what I do. The works I do it for my Father. He said, I know you don't believe what I'm doing, so therefore believe the works that I'm doing. I know you don't believe what I said. Just look what I'm doing. This is Marshali 24, 3-5. This is by Kukma, wisdom, a house is built. By wisdom, Kukma. And by understanding it is established. Understanding is to depart from evil. It says, by knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. You gotta have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Your house is not even built, and your house is, how you say, raggedy, dirty, has no furniture. I don't want to put no effort in. I don't want to put no furniture in there. I don't want to go and shop around and get my furniture and get the things I want. That's a lazy mindset. I don't want to decorate nothing. I don't want to do anything. That's how you establish a home, a house, right? And that's how you decorate your inward man, your inward man, right? They say a wise man is full of strength. A wise man or woman is full of strength. He said a woman can be full of strength. I said, actually, Shoshana, when he was dealing with the elders. Right? A wise woman is full of strength. Right? And a man of knowledge enhances his mind. It enhances his mind. It makes him stronger. It ain't saying he the strongest. It just makes you a little stronger as you renew your mind on a daily basis. Right? Some people say they want to be strong, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? It make you wise and full of strength, and then you get knowledge and enhance your mind. They're gonna make you even stronger within. So the wisdom of Kukum L'Shi Saluma 3:9-13. They that put their trust in Yahuwah shall understand the truth. It's not that difficult. They're gonna understand. Creating me a clean heart, renewing me the right ruah. Bara, Leib, Kadash, ruah, right? Created me a clean one. Within me, Kareb, right? Created me a new way in my emotions and passions and my mental acts. He says, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For Khan and mercy to his Kadashim, and he hath cared for his elect. Verse 10 says, but the unrighteous, ungodly, or unrighteous shall be punished according to their own imaginations, their own mind, thoughts. What you imagine in your thoughts, what you're thinking about. You're going to perish in it. You're going to be punished according to your thoughts. Right? It says, and which have neglected the righteousness and forsaken Yahuwah. For whoso despiseth wisdom and nurture, he is miserable. And their children, and it says, and their hope is vain, and their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable. It has no value. It brings no equitable enhancements. Nothing. Why? Because you despise wisdom and nurture. It doesn't matter what a person does. It doesn't. Just like Ahab when he married Isabel, right? And she went to kill the innocent man. Or Daud when he took Uriah's wife. And what did he do? He tried to get him drunk, do all these kind acts. That stuff didn't mean anything until he acknowledged that he was a sinner. So it doesn't matter if you despise wisdom and nurture like they did, and you try to do things, then what happens? It doesn't matter. He doesn't want it. It's not going to stop anything. And it says, their labors are unfruitful and their works unprofitable. Their wives are foolish and their children wicked and their offspring cursed. Generational curses. Tahalim Psalms 111:10 said, the fear of Yahuwah is the beginning, the rashith of wisdom, and all who practice it have a good understanding. His praise endureth forever. They have a good understanding. They have a good understanding. Like it's not that it's the allness and understanding that the father and mother is the beginning of wisdom. And then you practice doing what your mother and father said, just like you're in a home. If I have a home and I have a son and a daughter, or anything like that, and you tell them what to do and they do it, they have a good understanding of who you really are, and the position that you hold over them, and they understand that if they do these things, right, you'll always be in the favor of your father and mother. Right. This is Sirach 1:11-21. It says, the fear of Yahuwah is honor and glory and kabod and gladness and a crown of rejoicing. Right. So the fear of Yahuwah, right, maketh a merry heart, right, and giveth joy and gladness in a long life, right, length of days and long life. That's what fear of Yahuwah does. The fear of Yahuwah, it shall go well with him at the last, and he shall find favor in the day of his death, on the day of judgment. To do what he says, to fear Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. It was created with the faithful in the womb. It says, verse 15 says, she hath built an everlasting foundation with men, and she shall continue with her seed. To fear Yahuwah is the fullness of wisdom, and filleth men with her fruits, and women with her fruits. It says, filleth all their houses with things desirable, and garners her with her increase. The fear of Yahuwah is the crown of wisdom, and maketh peace and a perfect health. Shalom and perfect health. Who doesn't want peace and perfect health? Why wouldn't you not want that? People say, I'm not perfect. You don't want perfect health? You don't want peace? It says to flourish. It causes it to flourish. Both which are the gifts of Yahuwah. You know, the gifts that come from learning is peace, shalom, and perfect health. These are gifts too. And it enlarges their rejoicing that love him. Wisdom raineth down skill and knowledge and understanding, and exalteth them to honor that hold her fast. The root of wisdom is the fear of Yahuwah, and the branches thereof are long life. The branches. You just say, I'm the Brian, you the branches. You can do nothing without me. You can't do it. You say you can try. I want long life and length of days and eternal life. You can't do it without him. It says, verse 21 says, the fear of Yahuwah driveth away sins. It drives it away. And where it is present, it turneth away Yahuwah's wrath, or wrath itself. Right? So this is Eub, Job 28, 23 through 28. Yahuwah understands the way to it. He knows its place. He looks to the ends of the earth and sees everything under Shamayim. When he gave to the wind its weight and apportioned the waters by measure, when he made a decree for the rain and the way of the lightning of the thunder, then he saw it and declared it, and he established it and searched it out. What did he say? And he said to man, so he's talking there to Adam, human beings. Behold, the fear of Yahuwah, that is wisdom. And to turn away from evil is understanding. Like when somebody says, I understand, that means one understands to turn away from Ra. From Ra, right? This is 2nd Enoch, Bith Kanuk 43. It says, my children, every just deed and every just decree and every just decision I have checked, just as Yahuwah commanded me. And in all things I discovered differences. For just as 1 year is more honorable than another year, just like we had 1 year that was one honorable and another 1 year increase, another year for that, right? So shouldn't you say Yahuwah's will? You don't know. 1 year increase and next year, boom, you lose everything, right? It says, so one person is more honorable than another person. It says some because of much property, right? Because some people, I got a lot of land, I got a lot of property, I got a lot of assets, right? I got a lot of money, right? You see people today, right? Some again because of wisdom of heart, because I have a lot of knowledge, understanding, wisdom, kukma, right? All this knowledge, right? Wisdom, right? They can see, they understand all these things. He said some are more honorable than another. Some because of singular intelligence, just singular intelligence, like one simple thing, they understand it to the actual smallest minute thing. An architect or a person who build applications. It's singular intelligence. And he says some because of craftiness, because they have a wise to do evil. Crafty, wise to do evil, right? And he says some because of silence of lips, right? Just because a person quiet. Some people are esteemed one above another because one is quiet or silence. Why? Because he says, you know, we see that when one speaks, he says some people looking for opportunities. They will consider these people wise. And he says some again because of purity, because they're pure. They keep their body pure. They keep all these things. They do all these purity things that they do for their body. Some because of strength, because they go to the gym, right? They go to the jungle. They go to the muscle beach, or they go to the gym, or they look good on Instagram and Facebook. They got all these photos of themselves, right? Man or woman, right? They look good because of strength, right? And some again because of handsome appearance, right? Some because they look good, handsome appearance, beautiful appearance, right? Because they look good, a man or a woman. They got beautiful countenance, and people hold them at esteem. They got 1 million followers, 500,000, 30,000, right? Because they look beautiful, right? And he says some again because of youth, because they're young. Man, they still look young. They're young. They're youthful, right? And some again because of a penetrating mind. They can speak well, right? When they speak, it penetrates the thought process. Some again because of bodily appearance, right? We talked about that, right? All these things are outwardly things that people see. And some because of abundant feelings, right? They got feelings for everything. Kindness for people and helping people and all these things that people do in the earth. He says because of abundant feelings. They cry a lot. They show emotion. He said even though these things are heard, right, on every side, you can see that every single day. You turn on the television, you go on social media, you see these things on YouTube. I mean, it's on every side now. He said, nevertheless, there is no one better than he who fears Yahuwah. Because that is the Bereshith bara Elohim, beginning the creation, the house, the beginning of the creation of the Elohims. There ain't no one better than that. Nobody. He said, all that receive the light gave you power. He said, you the children of Yahuwah. Guess what it says? He will be the most glorious in that age. Kabod, in that age. Where you at? What era are you living in? Some people count themselves down. You shrink. He says, shrink. We are not unto them who shrink. Right. So this is the Aleph, because you know the Aleph has a number. It says there's 22 total letters. All right. So you look it to the left. They have the fire words, what they say, with the count of each letter. Right. Each value system. Right. You even have some other systems as well. Right. But you see all the different numbering systems. We got 1 through 22 or 1 through 400. Which of course, you go skip to 9. When you go to 9, which is the tit, and you skip to 10, then you go all the way to the side, and then you go all the way to the kuf to the top, right? And it doubles, then it triples, right? These are all aspects, right? So this is the Aramaic Palestinian Targums. Bereshit, section 1 says, and Yahuwah all saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and all imagery and thought of his heart was only evil every day. So this is where he talks about creating me a clean mind, renew me the right ruach within me. Why? Because every imagination and thought today in 2022 is evil every day. So he's like, every thought is every day. He says, and repented Yahuwah in his word that he had made man upon the earth, and he passed judgment upon them by his debar. By his word, right? It says, and there was repentance before Yahuwah in his word that he had made man upon the earth, and he said and judged in his mind. That's why Daud said in his mind, created me a clean heart, renew me the right ruach. Bara, Tahur, Lay. What do you think Yahuwah doing right here for his mind? He doing the same thing. He creating himself a clean heart, a mind, and renewing him in the right ruach. Well, he like, I'm getting ready to get this stuff out. And he judged by the word in his mind. It says, and Yahuwah said, I will abolish by my word human beings, whom I have created upon the face of the earth, from man to cattle to reptile to fowl to shamayim, because I have repented in my word that I have made them. So we know the word for repent is shu, to return. I'm returning back. But Nuach found favor before Yahuwah. This Bereshit 6 and 5. Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of Adam, human beings, was great in the earth, and that every intention and thought of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahuwah regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. It grieved him to his mind. I need a new mind. I need some new thoughts. And Yahuwah regretted that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So Yahuwah said, I will blot out man whom I have created on the face of the land, man, animals, creeping things, birds, of the shamayim, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Nuach found favor in the eyes of Yahuwah. Because the word for imagination is laid. We just went over this. But inner man, mind, understanding. Wisdom, knowledge, understanding. He said, by wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding is it established. Inner parts, midst of things, souls of heart, man, mind, knowledge, thinking, reflection, memory. What is one thinking about? Inclination, resolution, determination, conscience, heart, seat of appetite, seat of emotions, passion, seat of courage. Right? We live in the land of cops. How you say? Like the land of Mizraim. He said, man, seat of courage, emotions, and passions, and appetites. Inclination, resolution, mind, knowledge, soul, heart. This is how you say, this is the mind of Mizraim. This is the mind of Sodom and Gomorrah. Every imagination and thought is evil continually. That's the mind of the children of Nud or Nod. This is the mind of that Shemjaza, Azazel, and Asbaal, and the fallen Nephilim had. Every imagination and thought. So the word for thought is makashaba. Thought, device, thought, plan, purpose, invention. Pure thoughts, pure mind, right? No. evil devices, evil thoughts, evil plans, evil purposes. Right? Bad plots, cunning. All the plots on television are all evil. All the purposes that people do, right? I have a purpose to do right, or you have a purpose to do evil. Right? So you add up Makashaba, you got Min, Kath, Shun, Bith, Hey, Ha, right? You got 40, 8, 302, and 5, which equals to 361. These are Alepith, right? We just went over the chart, equals to 10, equals to 1. The first day of creation. Created me a clean heart, renew me the right spirit, right ruach, my thoughts, how one thinks. Your thoughts. Right? You do 361 times 4, because when you think about a 364-day cycle, say, I need 4. Let me times it by 4. You get 1,444 equals to 13, which you know that number equals to Mashiach Yahusha, as we spoke about before, if you go back and listen. All these aspects is one actually thinking about the one who can create in them a new and clean heart. Because there's only one person who can do that. There's only one person. Why do you think David asked? It's like, created me a clean heart, Yahuwah. Renew me the right ruach. Then guess what he says? Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written for me to do thy will. This word for evil is ra. Right? It means bad, evil, disagreeable. Every imagination thought was evil, unpleasant, misery. Why? Because he despised wisdom and nurture. Evil, wicked, misery. Right? Every single day. What part of every single day on people get? He said every day it was like this. Misery, distress, injury, wrong. He said, when are you going to get to shalom and peace? When you add up Ra, you got 200. That's the Rosh. You got the Ayin, is 70, which equals to 270 equals to 9. That's a 360 days, 360 days without the fourth transition. Man, you just thinking about it continually. Continually. You thinking about it continually. Right? He's saying these things are what? Grieving Yahuwah, right? In his thoughts, in his mind. So therefore, if these are in your thoughts in your mind, they need to do the same thing for you, because you're created in his image. Right? So this is the King James Version of Proverbs 30:1. We're going to go through 3 different versions. This is 30:1. It says, the words of Agur, the son of Jachaneh, his utterance. This man declared to Ithiel and Ukel, surely I am more stupid than any man, and do not have the understanding of a man. I neither learn wisdom nor have a knowledge of the Kedush One. Why? Because he doesn't know. Who has ascended into Shamayim or descended? And who has gathered the wind in his fist? Who has bound the waters in a garment? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name? And what is his son's name? If you know. If you know. He said, every word of Yahuwah is pure. Or Tahur. Or clean. It says, he is a shield to those who put their trust in him. They that put their trust in Yahuwah to understand the truth. Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you and you be found a liar. Right. This is LXX, Britain Septuagint, Masali 30. 1 said, these say the man to them that trust in Elohim, and I cease. For I am the most simple of all men, and there is not in me the wisdom of men. Elohim has taught me wisdom, and I know the knowledge of the Kedush. It says, I know the knowledge of the Kedush, who has gone up to Shamayim and come down. Who has gathered the wind in his bosom? Who has wrapped the waters in a garment? Who has dominion over all the ends of the earth? What is his name? What is his children's name? What is the name of his children? Right? So it's totally different. What is the name of his children? For all the words of Yahuwah are tried by fire, and he defends those that reverence him. Add not unto his words, lest he reprove thee, and thou be found there alive. It's the ESV. It says, Mashali 30:1-6. The words of Agur, son of Jechaneh, the oracle, the man declares, I am weary, O Elohim, I am weary, O Elohim, and worn out. Surely I am too stupid to be a man. I have not the understanding of a man. I have not learned wisdom, nor have knowledge of the Kadosh one. Who has ascended to Shamayim and come down? Who have gathered the wind in his fist? Who have wrapped the waters in a garment? Who have established the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name? Surely you know. Right? For it says, every word of Yahuwah proves true. He is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Do not add to his words, lest he rebuke you and you be found alive. Right? So the word for pure, or proves true, or tried by fire, right, is saraf. It says it means to what? To smelt, to refine. All the words of Yahuwah are refined. It says to test, to prove, it's tested, refiner, to fuse, right? It's pure. It means pure, right? It means smelt, refine, right? When you refine something by fire, it purifies, right? How you gonna create something that's clean? You gotta purify it. You have to use fire, right? Purify it, right? It means what? To test. You have to test it. I have to test to see. Yirmiyahu 23:29. Let the Nabi who had a dream tell the dream, but let him who has my word speak my word faithfully. What has the straw in common with the wheat? Declares Yahuwah. Is not my word like fire? Is not my word like fire? Declares Yahuwah. And like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces? The bar, the word does that. The word does that. People want to get their stony heart. They want to get them rocks and stones out of the river in their mind, right? So the river can flow properly, so it won't be gushing out and flooding your crops in your mind, and all the trees and everything in your mind. You need the word to break them rocks in your thoughts, in your river, so that the water can flow smoothly down the river. Right? So the word for fire is ish. 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 It means fire, flame, supernatural fire. It's a supernatural fire. It's an unseen fire. You can't see it. It's supernatural. It is a superpower. It means fire, roasting, parching, right? It's a fire. His word is like that. It's a supernatural fire. Keep that in mind, right? And it's ish, right? He said he took from the rib, he took from the ish, right? And he gave him fire in his mouth. He said, not my word like fire. So you add up ish is 1, and the shen is 300. Ish, which equals a 4. Which we know, we just went over it. The fourth letter of the alphabet is the door, the entranceway, gateway, passageway, portal. Again, Tahur equals to 4 too. So we're talking about creating. He said, "Creating me a clean heart, a clean mind." David said, and then fire. The only way you're gonna do that is with fire. And guess what? That is the only way you get through the door. He said, "I am the door, the word, the bar. No man can come to the Yahuwah except through me, through fire and being cleansed." Nobody. Right? This is Peter Kaf Aleph Peter 1:22. 1 Peter 1:22 says, "Since you have purified your souls in obedience to the truth, through the ruach and sincere love of the brothers or family, love one another fervently with a pure heart." Now you see why he said, "Creating me a clean, a pure mind, tahur lev, ish," right? a clean heart. That's the only way you can love properly. Having been born again. That's why he said, creating me a clean heart. Just like in Bereshit 1. That's the only way you're going to be born again. By fire. By cleaning your mind. Your memories, your thoughts, your old flames, like they say. You know, amazingly, they call them your old flames. Isn't that amazing for women? Like your old flames, or men, or your old flame. Ain't that something? That you may be born again, not of corruptible seed, but incorruptible. Through the word of Elohim, the fire, which lives and abides forever. Because all flesh is like as grass, and all the kabod of man as flower of grass. The grass withers and its flowers fall away. They do. But the word of Yahuwah endures forever. The bar, fire, the clean word. It says, Psalms 12:6, the word of Yahuwah are pure words. They're pure. Oh, you mean Ish, they're fire, the Tahur, they're clean. They're pure. They're clean. Like silver tried in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times. What is purification? Fire. Tried, refined, sarah. It's tried 7 times. Purified in the furnace of the earth. Purified 7 times. And you shall keep them. O Yahuwah, you shall preserve them from this generation forever. You're supposed to keep this fire word. Seeing that you purify your souls in obedience to the truth by doing the word, keeping the mandates, the commandments, by walking out, by taking control of your ruach, so you won't be able to see without walls, by not grabbing a person by the ears, not dealing with and walking in this truth. Doesn't, people say the truth, what is the truth, right? And you start looking at these things, right? And he says, you preserve them, you should preserve this generation. You want to be preserved? He said, I'll keep you from the hour of temptation that's coming on the whole world. And guess what it says? The word for purify, right? If you see that word, it says tried and purified in the furnace of earth, right? The word for pure is zakak. Zakak. To purify, distill, to strain, refine. Same word as saraf. To purify, distill, sustain, refine, extract, pull, to pour down, to strain. Isn't that something, right? So that word for zakak, you add up, you got zen, kuf, right? 100, and you have 7, which is 207 equals a 9. Zakak. Purify. Right? It's going to see this pattern, right? Purify. Right? So this is Yeshayahu 48:10. It says, for my name's sake, I defer my anger, and for my praise, I will restrain it from you, so that I do not cut you off. That's the only reason. He's like, for my name's sake, behold, I refine you, or saraf. That's the same word, creating me a clean heart, renewing me a right ruach. Or refine in me a clean heart? Try me? It says, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Why? Because he's trying to purify you. He's trying to purify your thoughts. Your furnace of affliction. What's the furnace of affliction? The bar, the word, the ish, the fire. He said, not my word like ish. Like fire, it abides forever. He says, purifying you. He says, for my own sake, I will do it. For how should my name be profaned? That's the only reason he purifying you with the bar, trying to give you the word, trying to get you to obey it, trying to get you to walk in it, trying to get you to be obedient. Because his name, he's the father and mother, he's the parent. And you go out in the world and you ain't got refined and by the word and the bar. And you go out in the world, you profane his name out in society where you're supposed to be a light, an or in the world. That's what happens. He says, and I will not give my kabod to another. He said, I ain't going to do it. He said, I chose you. He said, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving it to nobody else. So therefore, you got to get refined by the word. I have to refine you. I have to refine you. This is EU Job 23, 8 through 12. Look, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, I cannot perceive him. When he works on his left hand, I cannot behold him. When he turns to the right hand, I cannot see him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, because that's what it is, refining, Tahur, Ish is test, Saraf is the test, to refine, that's what it's for. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. You know how people say, I got the gold medal? He said, man, I'm coming out as gold. He said, my foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his ways and not turned aside. I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. Anybody can quote this. Anybody can say this. Right? Until it's tested. Until it's tested, right? So this is the word for tested. It says word for tested me or tried me in EU 23 is bakan. He said, I'm going to test you. I'm going to examine you. Remember he said he examined all your works and he's going to put you all the same. I'm going to examine you. I'm going to scrutinize you. That's what bakan means, scrutinize, to test, to prove. I'm going to investigate, right? He said, I'm going to investigate. He said, I'm going to tempt, prove, and said examine. Right? So scrutinize is what? Examine or inspect closely and thoroughly. That's what it means. I'm going to examine you closely and thoroughly by the Ish, by the word, because that's what is purifying you. Because it's not my word like a fire. I've tried you in the furnace of affliction. I'm testing you to see what type of ruach you have. He said, remember, he said, test the ruach to see what sort it's of. Why? You do it with Ish, fire. Then I'm able to see what type of spirit it is. Is it the right ruach or is it the wrong spirit? Creating me a clean heart, renewing me the right ruach. Only way you're going to renew someone, Chudash, right, in their inward parts, is by the Ish, the word. It's not my word like an Ish, like fire. Right. So, I point this out, right? You start looking at dimensions, right? Right, you start looking at 0, right? You got 1, 2, and 3, right? We look at 0 dimensions as a point. That's no movement at all, right? When one is sitting at 0 point, they're not moving at all, right? And then you go to 1 dimensional, it's a straight line, right? You know, just like we see people run a track 100 meters or somebody who just runs straight line, straight forward, right? Just like we talked about, the word of Yahuwah is straightforward, equitable, integrity, upright, innocence, right? But then you can also go back on a straight line, right? You get to stand still, you got to be at 0. You can go in a straight line and walk straight and not go back. But in actuality, you have the choice to go back now. Because once you go from standing still to now walking, now you have a choice to go back. Right? Some people are still in, 0 dimension. They ain't moved yet. Some people are in 1 dimensional. Why? Because they're going forward, but then you have the choice to go back, and they always talk about going back. I'm gonna go back to how I was. I'm gonna go back. Then you have that. That's a 1-dimensional walk. Then you have the 2-dimensional. These are more choices. I have more choices. Right, when you're in a 2-dimensional walk, you now have more choices. You can now go forward, you can go backwards, you can go left, and you can go right. Now it becomes more complex. Right? Ehud already told you, to the right, I cannot see him. To the left, he does his work. Forward, I cannot behold him. And he's back, I can't see him. 2-dimensional walk. But yet he gonna test my ways, he gonna try my ways, and I'm gonna come out as pure gold. Why? Because now you're in the midst of your two-dimensional, this walk that you're in. Then when you start getting into three-dimensional, right? Now you went from a forward, back, left, right motion. Now you have forward, back, left, right. Now you have breadth, width, depth, and height. Now you can go upstairs. Now you can climb up. Now you can do all these other things. Now you got space. You have space. A three-dimensional walk. Now you have space, breadth, width, depth, and height. Now you got to understand all these. Now you got to understand the breadth, width, and depth, and height. Now you got to understand forward, back, left, right, and breadth, width, depth, and height. You got to understand it all the way down from a three-dimensional to a zero-dimensional before you go to the next. Ephesians 3 and 4. For this reason, I bow my knees before my Abba. Why? Because you have to understand when you ain't got this when you don't know something, you have to get on your knees. You have to get on your knees and bow to the word. It says, for this reason, I bow my knees to my Abba, from whom every family in Shamayim and on earth is named. It should be that way. You mean family? Every family should be named that way. Every family should be like that. Yahuwah, Yahusha, Ish, Isha, Yalad, Malachi. Because Malachi are the servants. It should be that way. Every family should be named like that. It says that according to the riches of his kabod, he may grant you to be strengthened with the power through his ruach in your inner being, so that Mashiach may dwell in your hearts through Amunah. It should be that way. That you, being rooted and grounded in love, is found of those who love and seek. It says, may have strength to comprehend with all Kodashim saints what is the breadth, the length, the height, and the depth, and to know the love of Mashiach that surpasses knowledge, that surpasses a three-dimensional cube. To understand the fullness of him, that surpasses all knowledge, that you may be filled with the fullness, all fullness of Yahuwah. All the fullness of Mashiach Yahusha. All of it. Beyond the three-dimensional space. Beyond your natural body. Beyond your three-dimensional space. Right? Understanding with all people, all Kodashim, all the saints. So this is a all-inclusive information. This ain't just you. It ain't just one person. It was just me. Me, all by myself. No, this is something that everybody has to understand. This is Deuteronomy 8 and 1. It says, the whole commandment that I commanded you today, you shall be careful to do. That you may live and multiply and go and possess the land that Yahuwah swore to give to your fathers. And remember the whole way that Yahuwah, your Elohim, has led you these 40 years in the wilderness. You're in the wilderness right now. Where has he led you to? Where has he brought you to? This is the place where he wants you at. Right? That he might humble you. Testing you to know what is in your heart. Why does he have all these things happen? People say, why are these things happening in my life? Why are these desires coming up? To want to leave, go back. Why does these desires come up to where I want to go to my old flames and all these things? Why are these desires coming? He's testing you, see what's in your heart. All these things are happening just to show you what's in your mind, in your heart. Why I got anger issues? Why I can't stop talking? He's trying to show you what's in your heart. Why I keep speaking this certain way? Because he's trying to show you what's in your heart. That's why situations happen. He wants you to see what's in your mind, what's in your heart. He wants to see you in your heart space, in your energy space. He wants to see. That he might humble and testing your hearts. What do you mean? What do you mean test? Ish. Refining. Saraf. I'm refining you. I'm testing you to know what's in your mind, your heart, whether you will keep his commandments or not. That's the whole point. I want to see if you're going to do it and keep the commandments. And he humbled you and led you to hunger. I ain't got no food. I ain't eating. And he fed you with manna. He led you in the wilderness. He fed you with manna, which you did not know, nor did your fathers know. Right? So he fed 40 years in the wilderness, right? That he might make you to know that man does not live by bread alone, by food, your natural food, but man, Ish, right? Because Ish is fire. It's not my word like Ish. He says lives by every word that comes out of the mouth of Yahuwah. Every word. Every word, right? And then he say, but man and woman, because it say man, but he's talking about man, woman, child. They all live by every word that comes out of the mouth of Yahuwah. It should be that. But he let you be 40 years in the wilderness. You're in the wilderness right now. And you're traveling. And every undertaking that you do on a day-to-day basis, that's you building. That's you getting to that closer and closer to establishment. Wherever he put you at. Right. So this is the gospel of Nazarene, or the truth of the Nazarenes, the 4 temptations. Right. Then Yahushua was led up by the Ruach into the wilderness to be tempted. That's the same thing we just read in Devarim 28. Devarim chapter 8. He said, I led you these 40 years in the wilderness. And guess what it says? And the wild beasts of the desert were around him and became subject to him. Just like Adam. And it says, and when he fasted 40 days, he said, I led you 40 days in the wilderness. And 40 nights, he afterwards was a hunger. I suffered you to hunger. People say, keeping the commandments, that's nothing like Yahushua Mashiach. Yes, it is. I suffered you to hunger. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if you are the son of Yahuwah, command these stones to be made bread. Since you the son of Yahuwah, you got all this ability and power. You can manipulate ethers and protons, electrons, neurons, quarks, molecules. You can do everything your father do. Man, turn these stones to bread. What you doing? What are you suffering for? For no reason at all. He says, for it is written, I will feed thee with the finest wheat and the honey, or it says, and honey out of the rock. I will satisfy you. So Satan know this word. Satan know the debar. He know the debar. He said, man, it is written. But notice he's talking about carnal things. He's more on a carnal level. Satan's talking to him on a carnal level, not a spiritual level. He's talking on a carnal level. But Yahushua is fasted 48 to 49. Man, he's on a spiritual level. So you got carnal versus spiritual. Let's see what happened. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yahuwah. So he's on a spiritual mind. Not a carnal mind. I live by the word, what Yahuwah spoke, what he gave, through Chudash, people who wrote. As they were moved by the Ruach Chudash. If they were moved by the Ruach Chudash to write it and speak it, guess what? I obey it. Why? Because it's Ruach. It has nothing to do with the flesh. Verse 4 says, the tempter placed before him a woman exceedingly beautiful and comely and subtle wit and a ready understanding, composure. And he said to him, take her as you will, for her desire is unto you, and you shall love and happiness and comfort all your life, and see your children's children. Yea, is it not written, it's not good that man should not be alone? You look at this world today. You didn't see what Satan say, you know what? Give her a marriage ketubah and marry her. He just say, nah, you go fornicate with her and commit some fornication and have some children with her. And you will see your children's children. He didn't tell them to do that. He told them to, yeah, you know what? You go ahead and just marry, go ahead and just take her as you will. Do your own thing. Yeah, exactly. Don't marry her at all. Don't have no contract agreement. Don't give her no ketubah. Don't give her no betrothal. Just take her as you will. And guess what he says? He says, and who should say, get behind me, for it is written, do not be led away by the beauty of a woman. What is written at? Right? And then it says, yea, all flesh is as grass and the flower of the field. The grass withers and the flowers fades away, but the word of the eternal endures forever. He says, my work is to teach and heal the children of men. So I'm here to heal these people, the children of men, so they can actually have children and do the things the right way. I'm here to heal them first. Because there ain't no way they're going to have children and get married and do all these things and do all this stuff if their hearts are not pure, if they're not refined by the fire, the ish, the word. What's the point in me taking a woman in this age? Why would I do that? I'm coming here to heal people. Because the people ain't healed. I'm going to have a child and I'm not healed. You know what type of child you're going to create? He says, my work is to teach. If you're going to teach, that's fire, ish. And to heal the children of men. And he that is reborn in the Torah keeps his seed within him. Why? Because he ain't just going to be giving his seed to everybody. Like a man who fornicates. A man who fornicates just put his seed in every single thing he sees. Every woman. He said, man, but when you become reborn, you realize, I can't do that. I keep my seed within me. I can't do that. Because the seed remains in him. Some people call it seed retention or whatever you call it. Why? Because you realize I can't be giving all that energy out. Right? Verse 6 says, the tempter took him into the Chudash city and set him on a pinnacle on the temple. So he in the wilderness being tempted 40 days, just like he tempted them in the wilderness in the Devarim chapter 8, Deuteronomy. It said, and he said to him, if you are the son of Yahuwah, cast yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his Malachi charge concerning thee. And in your hands they shall bear thee up, lest any time thou shalt dash thy foot against the stone. And Yahushua said to him, it is written, again, thou shalt not tempt Yahuwah. So you see a Ruach mind, hey, carnally, hey, my job is to teach and to heal men, but you trying to get me to indulge in things in this world. He's like, Mom, I got to heal these people. I got to teach these people. Why? He said, I got to get these people reborn so they won't be like Shemjaza and all of them who came down here and did all types of fornication and taking women who were married, taking women, destroying virginity, doing all these things without any type of agreements, without any type, just fornicating everywhere. He said, I got to destroy this. So I have to destroy all these things. And he says, he shall not tempt Yahuwah. Then the tempter took him up into an exceeding high mountain in the midst of a great plain. And round about were 12 cities and the peoples. And from there he showed to him all the kingdoms of the world. Right? You see you see the people of the world, the kingdoms and the rulers and the people of the world today. He says, in a moment of a time, he said to him, and the kabod of them, in a moment, it says, in a moment of time, and said to him, and the kabod of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will give it, for it is written, thou shalt have dominion over the sea, from sea to sea, so thou shalt judge thy people with righteousness, and thy poor with mercy, and make a full end of oppression. If you therefore will worship me, all shall be yours. So you start looking at how these people got their seats today. People say, how are you going to give your power to one man? Because you worship him. Because that's what he's just asking for. Give me your power. That's all he wants. And Yahushua said to him, get behind me, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt uphold the law, the Torah, which is Yahuwah, and him only shalt thou serve. Without the Torah, the end of Ra, evil, cannot come. That's why Yahuwah said in the beginning, what did he say? He said, I will blot out man by my word. And I'm agreed that I even made them. I'm going to abolish them by my word. He said, the end of evil can't even come without the word, without the Torah. That's why Yahuwah did blotted them out in the beginning, by his debar. So how are you going to get evil out of your mind? You need the word, the debar, ish. You need the word. You need the fire. That's the only way evil going to come to an end in your mind. It says, verse 10 says, then the tempter, having ended all the temptations, left him. It says, resist the devil, he'll flee from you. You got to know the word. You got to know the bar. Whether it's for, you say, I got to know the bar for a man or a woman. I got to know the bar for being a husband. I got to know the bar for being, I got to know the bar for being a children. I got to know the bar for being in a position or being in a situation. I got to know the bar for that situation. I have to know the bar. I have to know the word. If I don't know the word in that situation, Satan's going to beat me. He's going to win. He's going to win in your life. He's going to win in your mind. So then the tempter, having ended all the temptations, left him and departed for a season. Why? Because he was testing. He was getting tested in the wilderness. He said, even Eve said, when he has tested me, when he has refined me, Saraf, when he has examined me, what's going to happen? I'm going to get the gold medal. I'm going to come out as pure gold. And guess what happened with Yahushua? He just overcome Satan. Guess what he just did? He just got tested. And he won. And Satan left. And guess what happened? Satan on a losing team, right? And guess what he said? He just won again. He just won. He just got a gold medal. That's one. He just won. He just won that race. He just won that. You can't take it away from him. He said Satan only departed for a season. He coming back. You think the one that went? I had a temptation, man, this year, this cycle, man. But you think he gonna stop? He coming back. So is one preparing for it, or are you sitting? People say, are you sitting around, just sitting around thinking it's gonna? Oh yeah, la la la. No, he coming back. He said, and guess what happened after that? And behold, the Malachim of Yahuwah Most High came and ministered to him. That's only. Once you win, once you get the knowledge, once you win with the spiritual mind and you win the battle with Satan, guess what? More information comes. More interaction comes. And then guess what happens? You become even greater, right? Psalms 81:9 says, I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim. Open your mouth wide, and I will fill it. That's what happened after Yahushua won the battle with Satan. And Malachi came ministering to him. They came to give him some food. Because he was hungry, remember? Wasn't he hungry during that battle? He said, open your mouth and I will fill it. But my people did not listen to my voice. He said they won't listen. Yahshua will not submit to me like Yahushua did. They won't submit. So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts. He'll give you up. And to follow their own counsels, their own imagination, every thought and imagination of evil continue. I let them do it. Oh, that my people would listen to me, that Yahshua would walk in my ways, and I would soon subdue their enemies. The same way Satan left, right? And turn my hand against their foes. Those who hate Yahuwah would cringe toward him, and their fate would last forever. But he would feed you with the finest of wheat, and with the honey from the rock. I will satisfy you. Isn't that what Satan said to him? Isn't that what Yahushua said too? Where it's written at? In the book of Psalms. You got to know the word. You got to know it. That's the only way you're going to win the battles that you have. He said, it's not written. So this is the book of Sirach 9:8. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman. Isn't that what he just said? In the book of, with the ordeal when he was battling Satan. He said, turn the eye from a beautiful woman and look not upon another's beauty. He said, it's written. Isn't that what Yahushua said? For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for herewith love is kindled as a fire. He said, it is written. This is 1st and 2nd Adam, book of Adam, Kua. First and second book of Adam and Kua. No deal with Satan. It's 21. So then Adam and Kua went in and searched out the gun, and the heat beat like a flame on their faces, and they sweated from the heat, and they cried before Yahuwah. Why? Because you start thinking about heat. You start thinking about being refined in the furnace of affliction. I'm testing you. What is he doing? He's testing. People say, why they got kicked out the gun too. You think that wasn't a test either? You feel like, yeah, they got kicked out. They got scattered and thrown into the wilderness, out in the middle of places. Yeah, he was testing them. He was proving them to see what's in their heart. Let's see. But the place where they cried was close to a high mountain top that faced the western gate of the garden. Then Adam threw himself down from the top of that mountain. His face was torn and his flesh was ripped, and he lost much of his blood and was close to death. He said, and was close to death, and was close to death. Meanwhile, Tahur remained standing on the mountain, crying over him, lying as he was. And she said, I don't wish to live after him, for all that he did to himself was because of me. He said, it's because of me. Right? And then she threw herself after him and was torn and ripped by stones and remained lying dead. It says, but the merciful Elohim Yahuwah, who looked over his creatures, looked at Adam and Eve, Tahur, and they lay dead, and he sent his word to them and raised them. Right? And Satan took him to a high pinnacle. He said, jump off. He'll give his Malachite charge over you. Didn't he say that? And guess where he was at? In the wilderness. Guess what? They were kicked out of the gun. And they were out wandering in the wilderness. And guess what happened? He said he sent his word and raised them up. Right. Amazingly, after Yahushua was tempted with Satan, he sent this Malachi after all of that. And they gave him something. And they ministered to him. Right? And it says right here, Deuteronomy 6:16 says, you shall not put Yahuwah your Elohim to the test. Or how you say, you shall not tempt him, as he tested him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim and his testimonies and statutes, which he commanded you. You got to know it. Deuteronomy 6:16, you shall not tempt Yahuwah your Elohim. This is the King James Version. As he tempted him in Massah. This is the King James Version. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim, his testimony and statutes, which he hath commanded thee. And thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah. That's why he was not following Satan's words, or his word of Yahuwah, or his word that he say. Right? But he was using the very debar, the word that one believes. It says, and thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may be well with thee, that thou mayest go in to possess the good land which Yahuwah sware unto your fathers, to cast out thine enemies from before thee, as Yahuwah has spoken. You have to know it. You have to know it, right? Satan ain't just going to flee. Resist the devil with the bar, with the fire, with the word. Because remember, he just like fire. He's going to be sent to ageless fire. So you got to use the very fire that he's going to send him to. It's going to be torment because he's going to have to stay in the fire. You know, usually he'll flee from the fire, the word. But then when the ageless torment comes, he's going to torment him with the very fire that he ran from. So if you tormented by the word of the bar, just understand that the spirits and the thing that's inside of you has what? It's tormented because it's going to be tormented in that same fire when it goes into judgment. That's why when the word, the bar comes, it's tormenting the spirit on the inside. Or if you have it in your mind and your memories and your thoughts, it can't penetrate. It can't come in. It can't. You're like a superhero. You're flaming all day. You're like that flaming tree. And it's not even consumed. That Mashasah. So this is Testament of Dawn, 12 patriarchs. We went over this before. We're going to do it again. It says, beside all these are 8 spirits of sleep, which is brought about by the trance of nature and of death. It says, with these spirits are mingled the spirits of error. Why? We're trying to dispel the darkness of errors. Why? Because each truth has to be eagerly sought after. You have to know it. You have to understand it. You have to memorize it. You have to have it in your intellect, your thoughts. The fire, the fire has to be on the inside. So when these spirits and demons, they get tormented. They can't stay. Your house is furnished and clean and neat, but it's on fire. And they don't understand why none of the furniture being consumed, because the spirits can't come in. It says what? First, the ruach of fornication is seated in the nature of the senses. That's why Satan was like, here this woman right here. Hey, she ready to understand it, ready to get you, ready to do what you need to do. He already ready, but he was trying to get him to fornicate. Right? And it says right here, in his senses, it's the spirit of, it right here, and it says the second is the spirit of insatiableness in the belly. Impossible to satisfy, satiate, satisfy, appetites, insatiable hunger, right? Insatiableness is what it means. That's what he was messing with his hunger when he first came to him. He was coming to him for his what? His hunger. You be the son of Yahuwah, turn these stones to bread. Right? The third is the spirit of fighting in the liver and the gall. Right? You start seeing it, how he's saying of fighting. Now you see why all these aspects when you're dealing with Satan. Fighting. What do you think they were doing going back and forth? They were fighting. And guess what? Yahushua was fighting back. Right? The fourth is the spirit of kikuance and chicanery. It says that through officious attention, one may be fair and seemly. Right? The word for obsequiousness is obedient to attend to excessive or servile degree. Right? Or servile degree. Chicanery is trickery to achieve a political or financial legal purpose. That's what he was telling him. He said, look at all the kings and the rulers. Look at the land. Look at all these things. He said, man, all you got to do is worship me and I'll give it all to you. Political, financial, legal, he going to be rich. You think about it. You just fasted 48, 49. You ain't got no money. You ain't got no food. You ain't got nowhere to live. You ain't got nothing. He's like, man, I give you all this. I give you food, give you a woman. I give you all these political, this whole kingdom. Just give me some worship. Notice all these things work together. And then the fifth spirit is spirit of pride. And he says that one may be boastful and arrogant. Right? Because one attained all these things. It says the sixth is the spirit of lying. Because that's what Satan was doing. He followed lies. And perdition and jealous and practice deceits and concealment from kindred and friends. How are you going to test the Ruach? How is Yahushua able to discern between good and evil in that situation? The Debar, the word, the fire. And guess what? I can see Satan concealing himself. It says the seventh is the Ruach of it says the seventh is the spirit of injustice, with which are thefts and acts of rapacity, that a man may fulfill the desires of his heart. For injustice works together with other spirits by taking of gifts. Right? So you look at rapacity as excessive greed. So if Yahushua would have hearkened to him, he would have took all them gifts from Satan. And guess what? He just bowed and worshipped him. But he had to fight with the Debar. You got to know it. Or you're going to give in. Right? But all these are the spirits of sleep. He said, awake thou that sleepest, right? It says in verse 31, it says, and with all these, the spirit of sleep is joined, which is that of error and fantasy. And that's exactly what the error, the ignorance is. Ignorance is evil. Why? Because you ain't going to be able to fight. You have nothing to use. You have to know. And knowing is half the battle. Verse 32, and so perisheth every young man darkening his mind, creating me a clean heart now. You darken, your mind is now when darkened. From the truth, from Yahushua Mashiach, from Bereshith 1, and understanding the light, the Or came into the world, created me a clean heart, renewing me the right spirit Ruach, because then I got the darkness of errors, because I'm ignorant. And it says, darkening his mind from the truth and not understanding the Torah of Yahuwah. Why? Because they don't trust Yahuwah no more. You can't understand the truth. Nor obeying the admonition of his fathers, as befell me also in my youth. You think Yahuwah, he told him, if you will diligently obey my commandments, I brought you in the wilderness that I might suffer you to hunger, that you might diligently obey my commandments. That's what Yahushua did when his father told him what to do. He diligently obeyed the commandments when he was in the wilderness with Satan. He did that. The testament of God. Right, 12 patriarchs. For as love would quicken the dead and would call back them that are condemned to die, so hatred would slay the living, and those who had sinned vehemently would not suffer them to live. Right, ain't even gonna allow them to live. It was unintentional. Man, I'm gonna do an intentful sin? Nah, it's unintentional. He said, man, I ain't gonna suffer you to live. Verse 24 says, for the ruach of hatred working together with Satan. It works together with Satan. Why do you think Satan was trying to pitch Yahuwah a new way of living? Why? Because he was trying to pitch him. He was trying to get him to work together with him. Satan was trying to get Yahusha recruiting him. He was trying to recruit him. He was trying to get him to hate Yahuwah and work together with him. That's what he was trying to do. He was recruiting him. Said through hastiness of spirits and all, because Yahushua was hungry. He was hungry. He was trying to hasten to get, man, hurry up and get this food. Turn your stones of bread. In all things the men's death, but the ruach of love working together with the Torah of Yahuwah in long suffering unto the salvation of men. That's why he said, I come to heal the children of men and teach. That's what he told Satan. I'm coming for the salvation of men. Verse 25 says, hatred therefore is evil, for it constantly mated with lying. Why? Because if Yahushua would have hated Yahuwah and not obeyed the word, then he would have been sleeping together with Satan. How would that been? It'd be over for us. Guess what? Speaking against the truth. You notice what Satan didn't do. When Yahushua spoke the truth to him, after he spoke the truth, Satan ain't say nothing back. Satan wasn't speaking, there's no truth now. Satan was like, that's the truth, and he loved. Satan wasn't speaking, there's no truth. You see the thing, Satan don't even speak the truth, but you see human beings, they speak against the truth. He ain't speaking against the truth in that when Yahushua was there. But he did it a couple other times, but in that situation he didn't. And it maketh small things to be great, and causeth light to be darkness. That's all it does. And calleth the sweet bitter, and teacheth slander, and kindleth wrath, and stirreth up war, and violence, and covetousness, and filleth the heart with all evil and devilish poison. That's what Satan was trying to do to Yahushua in the wilderness. He was trying to fill him with devilish poison. His words were mixed in a carnal way to bring about poison in Yahushua's mind, because he was in a spiritual mindset. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights. He was trying to inject him with some of his poison, his seed, his word, his debar. He's carnal-minded. That's why we always start. Close the door of your mind from all carnal will and all carnal thought. Why? Because Satan is carnal-minded. That's why he ain't subject. That's why he ain't going to do it. So verse 26, these things, therefore, I say to you from experience, my children, that you may drive forth hatred, which is of Satan, and cleave to the love of Yahuwah. Right? Righteousness casts out hatred, and humility destroys envy. That's why all the humility that Yahushua showed, he could have envied every single one of those kingdoms and all those things he had. He didn't. He had humility. He did. He did. Because he said what? Cleave to the love of Yahuwah. That's what Yahushua did. That's how you drive forth hatred, which is of Satan. You cleave to the love of Yahuwah. What's the love of Yahuwah? To keep his commandments. To do what he said. I keep Yahuwah said about behaviors and situations and how I need to love him more than my flesh and my carnal desires. And guess what? I love Yahuwah more. I love Yahuwah more, right? Verse 27 says, righteousness casts out hatred, and humility destroys envy. That's why Yahushua, he said, my righteousness, he said, I'm suffering you to hunger. I'm testing you right now. Verse 28, for he that is just and humble and is ashamed to do what is unjust. If Yahushua was just and humble, he was ashamed to even do what is unjust. It's hard for him to do that. That's why in that situation, he did not do it. Being reproved, not of another, but of his own heart, created me a clean heart. Renew me the right ruach within me. That's why Daud was asking for that. Why? Bereshit bara Elohim. Beginning the house of creation of the Elohim. He says, for it says, be not reprove another, but of his own heart, his own imagination. That's what Yahuwah did in the beginning. It grieved him that he made man on the earth. That's the same thing Yahushua did in his mind. Because Yahuwah looked on his inclination. Yahuwah was looking on Yahushua Mashiach's inclination, his son, he wanted to see. Because remember, Yahuwah was in the son, reconciling the world to himself. Is Yahuwah, he said, the bar in you? So this is the testament of Simeon or Shamuan, right? Chapter 3, right? Verse 1. It says, now my children, pay heed to me. Beware of the spirit of deceit and envy. That's what Satan was. Satan was envious of Yahushua Mashiach, and he was practicing deceit. For envy dominates the whole man's mind and does not permit him to eat or drink or do anything good. Was Yahushua fasting for envy and deceit? No, he wasn't envy or deceit. So if you fasting and you got what? Envy and deceit in your heart, man, just understand what type of spirit you got. Created me a clean heart, renew me the right ruach within me. You got another spirit. It said, don't even call you to do anything good. Rather, it keeps prodding him to destroy the one who he envies, he or she. Whenever the one who is envied flourishes, the envy one languishes. Ugh. You can't take it. Out of the fear of Yahuwah, I chastened my soul by fasting for 2 years, and I came to know that liberation from envy occurs through fear of Yahuwah. If anyone flees to Yahuwah for refuge, the evil spirit, the ruach, evil spirit will quickly depart from him. You want spirits to quickly depart from your mind? Fear Yahuwah. Keep his commandments. Keep what the word says, the bar, like Yahushua Mashiach. And these spirits will leave. That's why Satan left. Use that fire, that fire they're going to be tormented in. That fire, the word, they're going to be tormented in fire. That's why they can't take it now. You speak the word, they leave. And guess what? They're going to be tormented in that same fire. So if the word is tormenting you, just understand. That's the spirit that's getting ready to be tormented. And then you better not obey it. You better obey the fire, the word, the bar that's spoken, right? And it says, and he will be eased. You want to be eased today? You want some weight lifted off of you? He says, from then on, he has compassion on whom he envied. You have compassion. And has sympathetic feelings with those who love him. Thus his envy ceases. It stops. Stop, right? Testament of dying. And now, my children, I am dying, and I say to you in truth that if you do not guard yourselves from the spirit of falsehood and anger, and love the truth and forbearance, you will perish. Why? Because you got another spirit. It says, there is blindness in anger, my children, and there is no angry person who can perceive the faith of truth. So when Yahushua fasted 40 days and 40 nights, Satan came with him with the word. He trying to tempt him, and he was like, get out of my face. Satan, he was just angry and stuff. No, he was just calm and collected. And he said, my children, there is no angry person who can perceive the face of truth, because he got to continue to look on the face of Yahuwah, the panim. Right? He got to continue how Yahuwah be before his face. For even if one is his father and mother, he treats them as his enemies. If he is his brother, he does not recognize him. Right? How many people you think about your brother, whether it's spiritually or naturally? He don't even allow you to recognize because they envy you. It says, if it is a nabi, a prophet, a nabiyah of Yahuwah, he or she misunderstands. He misunderstanding. If it is a just man, he is unaware of him. If it is a friend, he ignores him. For the ruach of anger ensnares him in the nets of deceit, blinds his eyes, literally, darkens his understanding, error by means of a lie. Oh boy, because you know that's what Satan is. He's the father of lies. So if Yahushua would have hearkened to Satan in that situation, guess what? He would have darkened his mind. Because everything he was a lie. Right? How you going to use the word and use it deceitfully, like Satan? You see it on television shows today, and on commercials and stuff. They use the word to try to get people to do stuff, buy stuff. Ain't that something, right? They use this. They use the word. They use it. Daniel in the lion's den and this new car that just rolled by. They use that stuff. Ain't that something? They do the same thing today. Oh man, they try to get you to satisfy your carnal needs. They play you a nice little song, and they have like a little commercial with something for you to purchase. Yeah, it's called crafty. It says, and it provides him with his own peculiar perspective. That's what it does. So by what means does it ensnare the vision? By hatred in his heart. It gives him a peculiar disposition to envy his brother. It'll make you do that. Falsehood and anger. It makes you just envious. The qualities of somebody else. You want that quality that somebody else has. That person speaks that way. That person has that knowledge or intellect. I'm going to try to speak like him. I'm going to try to do what he does. It causes you to do that. And then these can also be caused by seeds that are sown in your mind by others, or by also Satan himself. It says, verse 3 says, anger is evil, my children, and it becomes the motivating force for the soul itself. The force has strange effects on the body of an angry man. It dominates his soul and provides the body with a peculiar power so that it cannot accomplish every lawless act. When the soul acts, it justifies whatever is done, since it lacks discernment. So then, whoever is angry, if he is a powerful person, he has triple strength by reason of his anger. First, through power and support of his subordinates. Second, through his wealth, by which he can now win persuasive acts and triumph in injustice. Thirdly, he has natural force in his own body, and through it accomplishes evil. Rah. But if the angry one is a weak person, his strength is twice that of nature. For anger always supports such persons in their transgression. When you be transgressing, anger supports it. Like Daud would say, this man should die. It supports in his transgression. You're going to support him. Or a woman, right? It doesn't matter. It's going to support you. It says the Ruach always moves with falsehood at the right hand of Satan, in order that such deeds may be done through savagery and deception. It supports. These things are wise. These spirits are wise. I know people think they just dumb spirits. No, they ain't dumb. And they definitely can speak, and they definitely can give one knowledge and intellect to do evil. Raw. You get so wise at it, you be like, man, how do you get so wise to do that? So this is Luke 8:7 says, for nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Nothing. Yuchanaan 3:20. For everyone who does wicked things hates the light, hates order. They don't want their creating me a clean mind, renewing me a right ruach. They hate light. It said, they that do wicked things hates the light. That's why Satan left. When Yahushua was speaking that or on him, he would come out, he went the word with carnal, but he came with him with all spiritual. And he hated him, hates the light, and does not come to the light, or lest his work should be exposed. The things that you're doing. He said, faith without works is dead, right? So if you ain't got no works, how do you know it's worked in Yahuwah? And then, if it's not worked in Yahuwah, how you're going to be exposed, right? You got to be exposed. Because you want to know if your works are good or evil. Why? Because if your works are evil, then they're going to carry you to the grave. They're going to follow you to the grave. So you need your works to be good that follow you to the grave, not raw. Right? Because if they were raw and you go to the grave, then understand. Just understand. Right? When that spirit, those spirits that have those evil works go with you, just understand when they get assigned to ageless fire, it doesn't matter who you are. That's why it tells you to pay close attention. Why? Because then that spirit gets thrown there and you attach to it. You co-sign with him. I co-sign with that spirit. So therefore, I signed on the dotted line with them, and guess what? I sold my soul to, how they say, Satan. I sold my life to him in those situations. And therefore, if you don't confess it, if you don't make it right, if you can't say out of your mouth and give praise to Yahuwah and say what you've done, then guess what happened? He can forgive you and get all that stuff out of you. And guess what? If you don't do it, this is Dead Sea Scrolls, column 6, 4Q 257. These are the paths in the world to enlighten the hearts of men. Straighten out in front of him all the paths of true justice, true judgment. Establish in his heart respects for the precepts of Elohim in the ruach of meekness, of patience, generous compassion, eternal goodness, intelligence, understanding, potent wisdom, which trusts in all the deeds of Elohim and depends on his abundant mercy. A ruach of knowledge in all plans of action. Of enthusiasm for the decree of judgment, of set apart plans with firm purpose, of generous compassion with all the sons of truth, of magnificent purity, Tahur, Sarah, clean, Ish, refined, magnificent purity, which detests all unclean idols, all unclean demons, all unclean shadim, all unclean jinn, spirits, of careful behavior and wisdom concerning everything, not just some things, everything. It says, of concealment concerning the truth of the mysteries of knowledge. These are the foundations of the ruachs, or the spirits of the sons of truth in this world. And the reward of those who walk in it, Qahalath, it will be healing to your shore, your umbilical cord. Plentiful shalom in a long life, because you won't have none of these behaviors. All these behaviors will shorten your lifespan. Envy, jealousy, hatred, strife, complaining, criticism, pride, dissension, rivalry, adultery, fornication, malice, evil purposes, plots, plans, memories. You start thinking on evil memories, man, you're gonna die early. You want your life to be extended. Why do you think Satan always trying to things started coming back up? You always ask yourself why. Because these things are still there. Infidelity, that's the infidelity in your mind that Satan uses to bring back. He knows it's there. That's why he always prods at it. That's why Yahuwah's poking at it. Hey, there it is. There it is, inside of you. And it says concealment concerning the truth and the mysteries of knowledge. These are the foundations of the spirits of the sons of truth in the world. And the reward of these that walk in it will be healing, plentiful peace, and shalom, long life. Fruitful offspring with everlasting blessing. That's why Yahushua said, I have come to heal the children of men. I come to teach and to heal them. Why? Because I'm trying to get fruitful offspring with the everlasting blessings. I ain't trying to have no evil children no more in the earth. Eternal enjoyment and endless life, a crown of kabod with majestic raiment and eternal life. Right? However, to the ruach of deceit belongs, here we go, greed, sluggishness in the service of justice and true judgment. I'm gonna wait. Wickedness, falsehood. All these are a part of lying, pride, haughtiness of heart. These are all spirits. Dishonesty, trickery, cruelty, much insecurity, impatience, much foolishness, impudent enthusiasm for appalling acts, performed in a lustful passion. You think about all these things that over-sexualize society, pornography, all these images they put in your mind from birth. You have to remove all these things out of your thoughts. You got to remove all the sexual partners you had in your outside of marriage. You got to move all those sexual positions out of your thoughts that you had with past people you've been with. You got to remove all the memories of it. You got to remove all of the thought processes of it. Even the words that one speaks of them. People say, I don't want to go that far. Well, guess what? It says filthy paths in the service of impurity. That's impure in your mind. It says blasphemous tongue. Then you start speaking against the truth. Blindness of eyes, then you can't see. Hardness of heart, hardness of hearing. Now you don't want to hear anymore. Stiffness of neck. You got hardness of heart in order to walk in the paths of darkness. That's error. Darkness of error. And evil cunning. And people say, okay, if all these things are going on in my life, if I have all these memories and all these thoughts, all these purposes, all these plans, evil, raw, all these things going on in my mind, what's going to happen in this life? Let me show you. And the visitation of those who walk in it, you can walk in this, will be abundance of affliction. At the hand of the Malachia of destruction, huh? And people wonder why all these things come in your house, in your life, whether it's in your natural house or your inward man. Why? Because these things are there for eternal damnation and scorching wrath of Elohim, of revenges for permanent terror and shame. All these things are coming out. Terror, destruction. All these things are coming to your life because you have these things in your mind and you have to destroy them. And it says, without end, with humiliation of destruction by fire and of the dark regions. Who? These are all, this is Malach Rasha. We talked about Malach Rasha. The adder, the reptilian shape-shifting demon. Malach Rasha, the one who had the dark hoodie on his head. The dark regions, and all the ages of their generations. They shall spend in bitter weeping and harsh evils in the abyss of darkness. Delilah says, until destruction, without there being a remnant or survival for them. People's like, how does a man go in the house and kill his whole family? How does a woman go in and kill her whole family? You see news articles and things like that. Because of these behaviors, these spirits. She killed her whole family and burned the house down. While the house on fire, she in there killing everybody. People, purification is daily. That's what I wrote at the bottom. Purification is daily. This is not some take a day off. I can have a good time. No, these things are everywhere. Right? This is Allah's Canute, Enoch, first Enoch 69:8. It says the fourth, his name is Penime. This one demonstrates to the children of the people the bitter and sweet, and revealed to them all the secret wisdom of their wisdom. Furthermore, he caused the people to penetrate the secrets of the writings that use ink and paper. On the account of this matter, there were many who have erred from eternity to eternity unto this very day. You think of how many writings out here with all these lies in it, and they ain't telling nobody to stop doing these behaviors. Like if it ain't leading you towards purifying your inner man and getting these behaviors out and these spirits and demons and believing on Yahushua and walking in him. It says, for human beings are not created for such purposes to take beliefs with pen and ink. That's why you had a lion pen of the scribes that we spoke about before. That's why you had all these books everywhere, right? For indeed, human beings were not created but to be like Malachim, permanently to maintain pure and righteous lives. Why? So you got a long life. Pure life. Righteous life. Pure and righteous. That's what Yahushua was. That's why Satan could not defeat him when he came and tempted him. Because he came to heal people. And he did that. Right? It says, Deuteronomy 6:25. And it will be righteousness for us if we are careful to do all this commandment before Yahuwah Elohim, as he has commanded us. That's why Yahushua, it was accounted him for righteousness. It said Abraham believed Yahuwah and it accounted him for righteousness because he did what Yahuwah said. Yahushua believed Yahuwah, his father, and he did exactly what he said. Get out of this place. Get out of this place, this organization. Get out of this congregation. Get out of this place. You got to do what he says. You got to do it. Because if they got those behaviors of the spirit of deceit in there, destruction, Malachim of darkness, through the dark regions, Malach Rasha, this is evil. This is Psalms 119, 137 through 144. Now when you go look at this, it has the Sad at the top. It has the Sad, the Sadi, right? Sad. Right? When you look at the number of Sad, it equals to, when you look at that, that's the 18th letter of the alphabet, which equals to 9. It also means, and actually the numerical value is 90, which equals to 9 as well. 9 plus 9 equals 18, equals to 9. 999. The Sad. You should check this, go read this actual, memorize this. Memorize this, because you're going to need it in your battle, you're waging your war in. It says, verse 137 says, righteous art thou, O Yahuwah, and upright are thy judgments. Thy testimonies that thou hast commanded are righteous and very faithful. So you want to be righteous and faithful? It says, my zeal has consumed me because my enemies have forgotten thy words. Right? Thy debar is very pure. Thy word is very pure, or saraf, is refined. Thy word is very refined. Therefore thy servant loveth it. It is found by them who seek, and those who love. He says, I am small and despised, yet I do not forget thy precepts. That's why Yahushua said, I would despise. He said he was despised and rejected amongst men. He said, thy righteousness is everlasting righteousness, and thy law, thy Torah, is the truth. Yahushua said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the Torah. He said, I am the Torah, right? So he's walking as the Torah. I'm the Torah in the flesh. I can see you, Satan. I can combat you with every single word out of the Torah, everything that's written, even in the lost, even in the books they took out. It says, trouble and anguish have taken hold on me, yet thy commandments are my delight. Are they your delight? Thy righteousness, the righteousness of thy testimonies is everlasting. Give me understanding, and I shall live. That's why Yahushua had understanding. That's why he lived. He didn't hate Yahuwah, and that's why he lived. He lived on to the next battle. Because Satan trying to kill him. He's trying to take him out. Get him to hate Yahuwah. Forsake the right to hate Yahuwah. So he could be miserable. Even though Yahushua still was miserable. But at the same time, he was trying to get him to despise wisdom and nurture. My son, do not forget the commandment of your father and the teaching of your mother. That's why he would not yield to Satan. Because he was not his mother and his father. He was his brother, his old jealous brother. So the word for law is Torah. It means law, direction, instruction, direction. So it tells you where you're going. Human, divine, prophetic teaching. It is the teaching. Torah, right? You got the added up is the two, the wa, the rosh, and the hey. Right? 2 is 400, wa is 6, rosh is 200, hey is 5. Equals 611 equals to 8. The Torah, the instruction, the direction, how you say, the Naba teachings. The Torah is the truth. It says, and you add up Yahuwah, Yad, Ha, U-A, right? You got 10, 5, 6, and 5. It's Yahuwah, right? Which equals to 26, these are 8. Yahuwah is the Torah. And the Torah is Yahuwah. That's exactly what it is. The Torah is Yahuwah, and the Yahuwah is the Torah. And Yahushua said, I am the Torah in the flesh. And the Torah was in Yahushua, reconciling the world to the Torah. All at the same time. Right? Proverbs Tahalim 18-10. The name of Yahuwah is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and is saved. The name of Yahuwah is the Torah. It's a strong tower. And the righteous run into that tower, and it's ain't talking about a skyscraper with an idol on top that Nimrod built. Right? So Yukanah 1 and 2. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yahuwah, Elohim Yahuwah, and the Word was Elohim Yahuwah. It was. The Torah is Yahuwah, and the Torah is Yahuwah, and Yahuwah is the Torah. He was in the beginning with Yahuwah. The Torah was the Word, the Debar, the refining fire, the Ish, and all things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, because everything is supposed to obey the Torah. But if you obey a spirit or a demon, guess what? Then you're going to get ageless fire, because that spirit can't take it, because everything was supposed to obey the Torah, right? It says, in him was life, and the life was the light, the ore of men, created me a clean heart, renewing me the right ruach. In the beginning was the Word. He said, let there be light. Or haya. Let the Word come to be, and it came to be. Let it shine, and it shined, and it came to be. It shined within. It was the light of men. That's why Daud went to darkness of errors. He's like, created me a clean heart. Renewing me the right ruach. Created me a clean heart. Renewing me the right ruach. Bara, right? Bara Tahur laid. La, right? Chudash, what? He said, we created me a new one. He says, and the light shines in darkness, darkness of errors. The or is darkness of errors. And the darkness did not comprehend it. Why? Why doesn't the darkness comprehend the light? Because they hate Yahuwah. They hate the Torah. They hate the Or, Yahusha, Mashiach, and they hate the bar that's spoken. Because that's why they can't comprehend it. So one can speak the word out in the world, but everybody's not going to comprehend it. It's right here, it says, because we know that because you think about it, the bar is pure, right? So, and it says, and will purify you when it is ingrained in your makeup of your actions and reactions. When Satan come at you, when situations come, and your actions and reactions, your purification is continually. When one is purified, things are removed from his or her life, and it comes to your actions. Right? So this is Job, EU 23, 8 through 12. It says, look, I go forward. We're going over it again, because I want you to see something. And he is not there, and backwards, right? But I cannot perceive him. I go forward, he is not there, and backwards I can't perceive him. When he works on the left, I cannot behold him. When he turns to the right, I cannot see him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, or Saraf, refined me, tested me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot has held his steps, and I have kept his way, and not turned aside. I have not departed from the commandment of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. Right. This is Jeremiah 7:21. Says, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, Elohim, Yasharal, add to your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, and eat flesh. For in the day that I brought them out of the land of Mizraim, I did not speak to your fathers or commanded them concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices. But this I commanded, I gave them. Obey my voice, and I will be your Elohim, and you shall be my people, and walk in all the way that I command you. That's exactly what Yahusha did. Yahusha wasn't going around eating no flesh and consuming no animals and doing sacrifices. He was obeying all that Yahuwah commanded him, even from the beginning. He says that it may go well with you, right? But they did not obey or incline their ear. So pay attention to that. They did not obey or incline their ear, but they walked in their own counsel, in the stubbornness of their own evil hearts, every imagination and thought, their own imaginations, and went backwards and not forward. They went backwards and not forward, right? Because he said, I went forward. Eve said, I went forward. He was not there. I went backwards, and I could not perceive him, right? Verse Yeshayahu 57 and 17. For the iniquity of his covenants I was wroth, and smote him. I hid me, and I was wroth, and he went forward in the way of his heart. He went on forwardly in the way of his heart. So he went on forwardly. But Eve said, when he went forward, he is not there, right? He went backwards, I could not perceive him. He said, he went on forward in his heart. I have seen his ways, and I will heal him. I will lead him also, and restore comfort unto him, and to his mourners. You know, he keep talking about backwards and forwards, or forward, or backwards. The right hand, right? His left hand, I can't behold him. On his right hand, right, I could not see him. He said, I can't see him. He said, the darkness can't come. The darkness can't understand. He said, they can't understand it. This is Tahur 20:71. Yahuwah is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Yahuwah is the stronghold of my life. Whom shall I be afraid? When my enemies assail me and eat up my flesh, my adversaries and foes, it is they who stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war arise against me, yet I will be confident. Are you confident today? He said, your shalom was prepared for you for what may be your war. He said, shalom was prepared for you. So this is Matthew 5:17. Do not think that I have come to abolish the Torah or the Nabi'im, the pure Torah, the pure word, the pure Debar. I ain't come to destroy that, or the Nabi'im. Yirmiyahu, Yeshayahu. He said, I have not come to abolish them, but fulfill them. Because he going to obey every word that comes out of the mouth of Yahuwah. Not humans, right? Let's see. Matthew 6:25. Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, or what you will put on. Is not your life more than food, and your body more than clothing? I esteem Yahuwah more than my necessary food. I feared your word, your debar, the words of your mouth more than my necessary food. I suffered you to hunger, that you may know that man don't live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahuwah. He said, is it not life more than food? You see, Yahushua's mindset is more spiritual. Why? Because he fasted 48 and 49. He like, I esteem the word above all that. He said, how come you don't do the same like me? Right? Verse Luke 22:14. And when the hour came, he reclined at his table, and the Shalakim with him. And he said to them, I have earnestly desired to eat the Pesach with you, but before I suffer. For I tell you, I will not eat of it until it is fulfilled in the kingdom of Yahuwah. I esteem, I uphold it or esteemed his word of his mouth, or kabod, the word of his mouth, more than my necessary food. He said, I ain't gonna do it till I eat it in my kingdom. He said, he go forward, I can't see him. Go backward, I can't perceive him, right? He said, go forward, he's not there. He go backward, I can't see him. His left hand, I can't behold him. On his right hand, I can't perceive him. Right? This is Yuchanan 17:13. So Judas, having procured a band of soldiers, and some of the officers and the chief priests and the Pharisees went there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Then Yahushua, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to him, whom do you seek? And they answered him, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua said to them, I am he, Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. When Yahushua said, I am he, they drew back and fell to the ground. He said, when he goes backwards, he said, I can't see him. I can't perceive him. They went backwards. He said, you heard me out? He said they went backwards and not forward. They went backwards and not forward. Amazingly, what Yahushua getting ready to do? He said, whom do you seek? And they said, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua answered, I tell you that I am he. So if you seek me, let these go. Let these men go. This was to fulfill the word that he had spoken. Of those whom you gave me, I have lost not one. Then Kepha, having a sword, drew it and struck off the high priest's servant and cut off his ear. And the servant's name was Malchus. So Yahushua said to Kepha, put your sword in your sheath. Shall I not drink of the cup that your father has given me? Yahushua, and it says, so the band of the soldiers and the captains and the officers and the Yahudim arrested Yahushua and bound him. First they led him to Ananias, for he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year. It was Caiaphas who had advised the Yahudim it was expedient that one should die for the people. He went on forwardly in his heart, like as he wrote, as Yeshayahu wrote. He said, I've seen him and I'm going to heal him. He went on forwardly, even though he knows he's going to die. He went on forwardly. He said, he go forward, I can't behold him. He went on forwardly. He went on forwardly, as the EU broke. And he said, I can't perceive him. I can't behold him. Left hand, he does his work. Right hand, I can't even perceive him. This is Matthew 27:32. It says, as they went out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. They compelled this man to carry his cross. And when they came to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of skull, they offered him the drink mixed with gall. And when he tasted it, he would not drink it. I esteem Yahuwah, the word of Yahuwah, more than my necessary food. Think not I've come to destroy the Turah or the law. I not come to destroy the prophets, the Nabi'im, or the law, the Turah. I come to fulfill it. So if he had drunk it there, he wouldn't fulfill the whole thing. So he had to esteem the word more than his necessary food. As EU wrote. So this is Matthew 27:38. Then the two robbers were crucified with him, one on the right hand and one on the left. When he was on the right, he said, what Eve said, on his right hand, I can't perceive him. On his left, he does his work. On the right hand, I can't perceive him. It says, and those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads and saying, it says, and heads and saying, you who destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. Why is he destroying the temple and rebuilding it? He's creating it all over again, creating me a clean heart, renewing me the right ruach. The name of Yahuwah is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe. He's building a new tower. He's building a new temple. It says, if you are the son of Yahuwah, come down from the cross. So that also the chief priests with the scribes and the elders mocked him, saying, he saved others. He said, he cannot save himself. He is the king of Yasharal. Let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusts in Yahuwah. Let Yahuwah deliver him now. If he desires him, he said, they that trust in Yahuwah understand the truth. Do you understand the truth? Are you sleeping? Or he said, are you sleeping? Or you got the spirit of sleep with the darkness of errors? For he said, I am the son of Yahuwah. And the robbers who were crucified with him also reviled him in the same way. In the same way. Right? Because they joining in. Remember, what did he say? He said, they would not listen to me. They went about in their own counsel, in their own stubbornness of their own heart. That's exactly what they're doing right here. He said they went forward. They went backwards and not forward. Because the people that went backwards are the same people that's deriding him and crucifying him. Even the thieves joined in, right? They joined in too. This is Luke 23:42, because they're in the darkness of errors. It says, two others who were criminals were led away to be put to death with him. And when they came to the place that is called the skull, there they crucified him and the criminals on his right hand or on his left. On the right, I can't perceive him. On the left, he does his work. And guess what he says? And Yahushua said, Father, Abba, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Forgive. Of course they ain't gonna know what they do, because they got the darkness of errors. Yahuwah has poured upon them the ruach of deep sleep. Eyes they cannot see and ears they cannot hear. If they see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their mind, their heart, and they can be healed and be converted. Isn't that what Dead Sea Scrolls just said? They that walk in it will be plentiful peace, healing, long life. And he says right here, it says, saying, he saved others, let him save himself. If he is the Mashiach of Elohim, or the Mashiach of Elohim, he is his chosen one, right? The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine, saying, if you are the Malach of the Yahudim, save yourself. There was also an inscription over him. This is the Malach of the Yahudim. One of the criminals who were hanged railed at him. So, saying, you are not the Mashiach. Because he couldn't perceive him. Which one is that? He said on the left hand he does his work. On the right hand, he could not see him, right? And it says, he said, you are not the Mashiach. Save yourself and us. He said, if you are not, he said, are you not the Mashiach? He said, are you not the Mashiach? Save yourself and us. He said, you can't do that. You got the ability. Are you not the Mashiach? Because you can save all of us. Because remember, he told Satan, I come to teach and to heal the children of men. But the other rebuked him, saying, do you not fear Yahuwah? Huh? He rebuked him. Now, the other one, he said he was reviling with him, but he joined in, and then now he started talking about being saved. The other thief started talking about being saved. He said, save us and yourself. He like, saving? He said, but the others rebuked him. When he started talking about being saved, now when it came to deriding him on the cross, when it came about mocking him and joining with other people, they did it. But when he talked about being saved, he said what? He said, are you not the Mashiach? Save yourself and us. But the others rebuked him, saying, do you not fear Yahuwah, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? We indeed justly, for we are receiving the due reward for our deeds. He confessed his sins. He just confessed what he did. They just the due reward for our sins. But this man has done nothing wrong. He just defended Yahushua. He just defended the word. He defended the innocent blood. And he said, Yahushua, remember me when you come into your kingdom, your Malkut. And he said to him, truly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise. He said, on the right hand I couldn't see him. The right hand, he does. On the left hand, he does his work. On the right hand, I couldn't perceive him. Can you perceive him now? Can you see him now? When he go forward and backwards, can you see him? Or you still can't perceive him? He went on forward in his heart. When they came to him, they fell backwards. He said they went backwards and not forward. After your sacrifice and eat flesh. They were eating flesh during this time of Pesach. Can you see him now? See him now? Can you see that now he is being tried and he shall come out what? As pure gold. He said, he know the way that I take. He said he know. This is Yukonah 19:28. It says, after this, Yahusha, knowing that all was finished, said, to fulfill the scriptures, I thirst. A jar of sour wine stood there. So they put a sponge of sour wine on a hyssop branch and held it to his mouth. When Yahusha had received the sour wine, he said, it is finished. And he bowed his head and gave it the ruach. He know the way that I take. For when he has tried me, Saraf, or how you say Saraf or Ish, he said, I refine you. I've chosen you to the furnace of affliction. I'm refining you through this furnace of affliction that he's going through. He said, when I'm tried, I'm gonna come out as pure gold. Just like he won the battle with Satan, he just won the battle with this next battle that he fought. But that was to heal man and the children of men. He won this battle too. He came out as pure gold. Are you going for the gold? Or are you going for last place? He went for the gold and he won. Because he obeyed the Torah. He said, I've not come to destroy the Torah. Oh no, you still got to do the things that I said, the mandates and the pakud and the commandments. But I came to fulfill it. I showed you. So this is Psalms 51:8. For I acknowledge my transgressions. That's what the thief did on the cross. He acknowledged his transgressions. And my sins is always before me. It was. Against you and you only have I sinned. I done this evil in your sight, that you may be found just when you speak, and blameless when you judge. Behold, I was brought forth in iniquity, and in sin my mother conceived me. Behold, you desire truth in the inward parts. That's what the bar was inside of Yahusha. That's why he never failed. He had truth, the bar in his inward man. And in the hidden parts you will make known you'll know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. We just talked about whiter than snow. Shalab. Whiter than snow. Make me hear joy and gladness, that the bones you have broken may rejoice. Let me hear joy, that the bones you have broken may rejoice. When the two thieves on the stake, he said they break their bones on the left and on the right. It says, hide your face from my sins and blot out my iniquities. This day you'll be with me in paradise. Create in me a clean heart, O Yahuwah, and renew in me the right ruach within me. Do you not fear Yahuwah? We are rightfully so for our transgression. This man has done nothing. He innocent. Do not cast me away from your presence. Remember me in paradise. And do not take your ruach Chudash from me. Tahur 32:3. Barak, blessed is the one whose transgression is forgiven, whose sins is covered. Today will you be with me in paradise. Barak is the man against whom Yahuwah counts no iniquity, and whose ruach there is no deceit. Today you'll be with me in paradise. For when I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all the day. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. That's why when the sun went down from the 6th to the 9th hour, it was daytime and went nighttime. And he was silent too. He said, you don't hear all these things they say? And he answered not a word. In Matthew 27. It says, my strength was dried up as the heat as by the heat of the summer. That's what Adam and Kuo. Remember, they were on the mountain, they were walking, and it was hot. He said, I acknowledge my sin to you, and I did not cover my iniquity. Today you will be with me in paradise. You got to confess your sins, people. All the things that one has done, all the behaviors, the spirit of sleep, all the anger and jealousy and envy, all the hatred and lack of compassion and mercy and gentleness and meekness, all the things that you've done from birth to present, from the time you were born until today. I said, I will confess my transgressions to Yahuwah. And you forgive the iniquity of my sins. Today you'll be with me in paradise. Remember me in your kingdom. Sirach 8 and 5. Reproach not a man or woman that turn away from sin, but remember that we are all worthy of punishment. We all are, right? Confess ye his power, right? This is Testament of Zabulon 8 and 8. You also, my children, have compassion toward every person with mercy, in order that Yahuwah may be compassionate and merciful to you. In the last days, Yahuwah will send compassion on the earth, and whenever he finds compassion and mercy in that person, he will dwell. To the extent that a man has compassion on his neighbor, to the extent that Yahuwah have mercy on him. Isn't that what the thief, the one on the thief on the stake did? He perceived it. He like, man, I can see him. He like, you innocent. Do you not fear Yahuwah? We rightfully so up here for our sins and transgressions. He confessed his sin. And guess what? He had compassion on Yahushua Mashiach. He like, man, he's innocent. He said, man, Yahuwah, he said he had mercy on him that day. He's like, today you'll be with me in paradise. He says, for when he saw me, he was moved with compassion. Isn't that what Yahushua is? He's compassionate. He said, Yahuwah is compassionate, forgiving sins, transgressions, and iniquities. But you know why? He didn't clear the guilty, but he confessed it. And he said, you know what? Remember me in paradise. He said, this day you will be with me. But that's what people he want there. He don't want people who can't confess their sins. He don't want people who hide their sin. He want people to say, I'm a sinner. He said, whomever you see, do not harbor resentment, my children. Resentment is a bitter, feeling for being treated unfairly. Or resentment is something that you have towards somebody by the way, that one has done or has done in the past. He says, love on another and do not calculate the wrong done by each other, done by each to his brother and sister. This shatters unity. It doesn't allow people to unite. And scatters all kinship and stirs up the soul. He who recalls evil receives neither compassion nor mercy. That's why Yahushua didn't get no compassion or mercy. Because he was recalling all the evil from Bereshith all the way to, he said, the world going to hate you. He said, the only reason the world hate me because I say their deeds are evil. Colossians 3 and 5, put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you. Sexual immorality, impurity, passions, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry. On account of these, the wrath of Yahuwah is coming. In these you too once walked, when you were living in them. But now you must put them all away. Anger, wrath, malice, slander, obscene talk from your mouth. Do not lie one to another, seeing you have put off the old self with its practices, and have put on a new self, which is being renewed in the knowledge after the image of its creator. Here there is no Greek, no Yehudi, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave, free, but Mashiach is all in all. But put on then as Yahuwah's chosen ones, conducive and beloved and compassionate hearts. Because that's what he's going to dwell in. Kindness, humility, meekness, patience, bearing one another. If anyone has a complaint against another, forgiving each other, as Yahuwah has forgiven you. So you also must forgive. And above all these things, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the shalom or peace of Mashiach rule in your hearts, in which indeed you were called into one body. And be thankful, and let the word of Mashiach dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your hearts to Yahuwah. And whatsoever you do, in word or deed, do everything in the name of Adon Yahushua, giving thanks to Yahuwah, the Ab, through him. Always. This is 2 Corinthians 7:1. Therefore, having these promises, beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and ruach, perfecting Chudash in the fear of Yahuwah. Why? Because the fear of Yahuwah is the beginning. The fear of Yahuwah is a merry heart. We got to perfect it. We got to cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh, on our outward man and our inward man. All the impurities, all the behaviors of the spirit of deceit. That's going to bring all these behaviors, and like it said in the Dead Sea Scroll, also in the 12 Patriarchs, and all throughout the other Torah writings. We got to cleanse ourselves from these things. Perfecting it. It's a daily practice. Ephesians 25-32. Therefore, putting away lying, that's of Satan. Let each one speak the truth to his neighbor. Why? Because the truth will make you free from spirits. It'll set you free. It'll dispel the errors of the errors of ignorance, the darkness of ignorance, the darkness of errors. For we are members one of another. We're supposed to have care one for another. Be angry and do not sin. Because the spirit of anger works together. It'll make you enhance your sin. And do not let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil, Satan. Let him who stole steal no longer. Not, I'm going to go steal. No, steal no longer. But rather labor, working with his hands, what is good. Whatever you find that's allowing you to do things in a just and righteous manner, hey, do it. That he may have something to give to him who is in need. That's the whole point. Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth. What's corrupt word? An untruth, a lying, perverse speech. Anything that's outside of the word that's not inconducive with behaviors that are conducive to righteousness and purity and compassion. But what is good for necessary edification, that it may impart to the hearers. It says, and do not grieve the Chudash Ruach of Elohim, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Let all bitterness, being treated unfairly, all that's, I was treated bad, all these things, no. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you, which means you got to cleanse yourself from all filthiness of the spirit. These are all in your spirit. You got to forgive. With all malice. That's intention to do evil, purposely. And be kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as Yahushua Mashiach has forgiven you. Why do you think that person, the thief, the criminal on the cross, he got a pardon? He forgave him because he cleansed himself. He realized, I'm guilty and he's innocent. He did proper judgment on himself. So this is Apocalypse of Saphanyah, or Saphanyah 4:1, or how you say Saphanyah, right? It says, then I walked with the Malach of Yahuwah, and I looked before me, and I saw a place there. Thousands of myriads and myriads of Malachim entered through it. It says, their faces were like leopards, their tusks being outside of their mouth like wild boars. Their eyes were mixed with blood. Their hair was loose like the hair of a woman, and a fiery scourges were in their hands. And when I saw them, I was afraid. And I said to the Malach that walked with me, of what sort are these? And he said to me, these are the servants of all creation who come to the souls of the unrighteous men and bring them and leave them in this place. They spend 3 days going around with them in the air before they bring them and cast them into eternal punishment. You talk about the Malachim of destruction. We just read it in the Dead Sea Scroll. We just talked about the Malachim of destruction. All who practice these and walk in these things will be he said Malachim of destruction. In darkness, in the dark regions. It says, and I said, and I beseech you, Yahuwah, don't give them authority to come to me. The Malach said, do not fear. I will not permit them to come to you because you are pure before Yahuwah. Magnificent purity. Tahur, creating me a clean mind, renewing me the right ruach. All the words of Yahuwah are pure and tried, as purified in the furnace of earth, purified 7 times. See then that you have purified your souls in obeying the truth. It says, and I will not permit them to come to you because you because the Almighty Shadi sent me to you because you are pure before him. Then I beckoned to them, and they withdrew themselves, and they ran from me. Why? Because you have authority and dominion. You're pure. You're pure. Because he obeyed the truth, just like Yahusha. And Satan ran too when he saw him. Yahusha Mashiach. He ran after he resisted him, he ran too. Right? So purity must be maintained in the mind. And clean habits in the flesh and living spaces. Right? Remember, if everything was clean, why do we need to cleanse ourselves from filthiness of the flesh and ruah? Like you saying everything clean. But he's telling us to do it. Because there are dirty ones. Like you have to start thinking about that. Right? This is the apocalypse of Elijah. Student Prographa, Volume 1. The benefits of a fast. Remember that from the time when he created the heavens, Yahuwah created the fast for a benefit to men on account of the passions and desires which fight against you, so that the evil will not inflame you. Like how you say, who got inflamed with the evil spirit you spoke about last time? Ham, he got the magical arts, and that spirit inflamed him in the end, and he was possessed by the demon, the spirit, the Shadim. It says, but it is a pure fast, which I have created, saith Yahuwah. The one who fasts continually will not sin, although jealousy and strife are within him. Let the pure one fast. But whenever the one who fasts is not pure, he has angered Yahuwah and also the Malachim, and has grieved his soul, gathering up wrath for himself for the day of wrath. Right? So you be fasting, you ain't pure, and you go ahead and you go for a fast like people do today in the world. You see all these commercials and stuff, boy, they don't even know. Man, Yahuwah hot. You angering the whole Shamayim. Because you say, see that you purify your souls in obeying the truth. So he ain't talking to everybody. He only talking to those who obey the truth, obey the Torah. He's saying you do it. Why? He already know you got jealousy in your heart, right? And strife. So that's why you doing it. He said, but these people ain't pure out here. They ain't doing nothing I say. He said, he said, verse 20 says, but pure fast is what I created with a pure heart and pure hands. Pure heart. Created me a Tahur heart. Tahur lay. Chudash. The right Ruach. It says it releases sin. It heals diseases. It casts out demons. It casts out shadim. It is effective up to the throne of Yahuwah Elohim for an ointment and for the release from sin by means of pure prayer. Pure prayer, pure hands, pure heart, pure life. See then if you purify your souls in obeying the Torah, the truth. I suffered you to hunger that you may know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word from Bereshit all the way through any word that Yahuwah has spoken. If you do these things, believe me, the words that he spoke is pure. Every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yahuwah, because every single word, because remember, Satan had a word that proceeded from his mouth too. Just make sure the word that you obey, the word that you do is proceeding from the mouth of Yahuwah. Right? So this is Acts of the Nazarenes Apostles, chapter. Acts of the Nazarenes of the Apostles, how demons get power over men. Therefore demons, shadim, as we have just said, when once they have been able, by means of opportunities afforded them to convey themselves through base and evil actions into the bodies of men and women, if they remain in them a long time, through their own negligence, which means if one ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing, it ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. Because they do not seek after what is profitable for their inner beings. This is why meditation, fasting, this is why praying, and all these aspects should be held as sacred practices. And I'm sorry to use that word sacred, but it should be held in high exaltation in your life. Every single day. It says they necessarily compel them for the future to fulfill the desires of Shadim, demons who dwell in them. That's why they say it casts out demons. Pure prayer, pure hands, pure thoughts. The fire, Ish. They can't take the fire. Shadim can't take the fire. But what is worst of all, at the end of the age, when the Shadim, demons, will be co-signed to ageless fire for the necessity, the Ruach also that obeyed him will with him be tortured in the ageless fire together with his body, with its body that it has polluted. Why? Because Shadim can't take the truth. They can't stay. They can't be around it. That's why they say, you come to torment us before the time? And I'm sure they didn't say it like that, because people think they came and said, come to torment us before the time. No, they can't. You come to torment us before the time. Because all these are aspects of these spirits. And they jumped into the unclean pig, because they couldn't take it. Because they go in the ageless fire. And guess who was the fire? Yahushua Mashiach. The Ish. The word of the bar. Right? So, all of Yuchanan 1, or I say 1 John 2:24. Right, just like Dawud said, create in me a clean heart, renew in me the right spirit. Create. So let what you've heard from the beginning abide in you. When he sent the ore from the highest Shamayim, the light from the highest Shamayim came through the Shamayim, the 7 Shamayim, and came to the earth. He said, don't be like the people on earth. He said, go down and wrap yourself in flesh. He sent the word from the highest Shamayim to the earth. The ore light frequency in the earth. He said, let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. And what you heard from the beginning abides in you, which you mean you receive the light, you receive the word of the bar. He said the counsel for your actions, the instructions, the Turah, the actual instructions for your life, the actual instructions to tell you which way to go, the actual instructions on how to get these beings and these spirits out of your life, out of your mind and your thoughts, to not bring wrath and destruction, but the malaki of destruction and darkness in the dark regions, and Malach Rasha. To cast away darkness and errors out of your mind and your thoughts. He say what? Let what you heard in the beginning abide in you. Then you will abide in the Son and in the Father. In the Ben and the Ah, the life of the house and the strength of the house. And this is the promise that he made to us. He made it to us. Ish, Isha, man, woman, Yalid, child, family, Mishpachah, family. He's given it to everybody. Believer, non-believer, those who are waiting, those who don't understand now. A door has been opened. He said, and this is the promise that he has made for us, eternal life. Right? So as we look at the purity of Tahur, and as the cycles start to change and everything starts to align, moving toward the next cycle, moving towards the next Kag, Mu'ad, feast, it's important to, Saraf, or Tahur, or Ish, like to examine, to test. Because the tests are here to see what's in your heart, to see what's in your mind, to prove, to see if you will keep the commandments still, regardless of what may happen, what may transpire. Because these are the tests that will allow one to see if one will obey Yahuwah in the midst of adversity, or will one say, not today. And these are the determining factors. He said, exercise your life, exercise your mind, exercise your natural man, your body, and teach your Ruach man the natural way on how to live, on how to overcome, to fight past pain, to fight past adversity. Because all these aspects, if you can't understand earthly things, you can't understand Ruach things. If you can't understand what natural food and natural clothing things do for you in this natural life, how will you know what spiritual food and spiritual clothes will do you in that other life? If you can't understand the difference between clean and unclean, how are you going to understand what to do and the proper decision to make in life? People may look at my life as a mistake. Your life is not a mistake. Your life is to be lived, that you may inherit a Barak. So at the sound of this, and at the end of this, we acknowledge and we say thank you to the one who allows us to hear the word and to understand it, and allow us to perceive him when we go forward, when we go back, when we go to the left and the right, and to see him in the midst of it all, standing still in the midst of it all, and beholding him and seeing the salvation of Yahuwah. So as we walk in this life, he said, if you then be risen with the Mashiach, seek those things which are above, where Yahushua Mashiach sits on the right hand of Yahuwah. Set your affections on things above and not on the earth. Seek ye first the Malkuth with love and compassion and humility, and every single thing that you desire, the things that you want in this life, will be added to you as extra. He says, if you delight to do Yahuwah's will, he'll give you the desires of your heart. He said, I delight in truth, the Abar, the Dambar, like as Dawud wrote, the Bar, his voice, and the inward man. For all the words of Yahuwah's come from Yahuwah's mouth is pure. It is tried, as silver tried in the furnace of the earth, purified 7 times. That's when Yahushua was on the cross, on the stake. It was about the 9th hour. He said, it is finished. It is time to rest. It is time to rest. For this Yom, this day of rest, we acknowledge Yahuwah, the one who created all things. For the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth.